The story begins with the judge swinging his gavel to pronounce the verdict. The criminal, Sira Lancaster, set fire to the Crown Prince's palace, leading to the death of His Highness the Crown Prince. She is now sentenced to death for arson and murder, to be imprisoned and executed the next day. The young woman in front of us is Sira Lancaster, who was just sentenced to death. Upon hearing the harshest sentence, Sira vehemently shook her head, trying to express that she did not set the fire. However, since her mouth was gagged, no one could hear her pleas. The people at the trial only whispered among themselves, cursing her as heartless. As Sira was being escorted to the dungeon by the soldiers, a familiar voice suddenly rang out. This person demanded that she hold her head high and stand straight. As soon as Sira saw the owner of the voice, she recognized her father and sister had arrived. The Duke Lancaster, accompanied by his eldest daughter Daisy, did not comfort Sira upon seeing her in such a pitiful state. Instead, he coldly remarked, "What a disgrace, she doesn't resemble a daughter of the Lancaster family at all." At this moment, seeing her father and sister, Sira naively believed that she would be able to prove her innocence. But when she saw the strange look on her sister Daisy's face, a sense of unease rose within her. The next words from Duke Lancaster left Sira completely hopeless. The man, with a regretful expression, addressed everyone present, "I'm deeply sorry, I, Jared Lancaster, failed to educate my daughter properly. I apologize for the trouble caused." Sira could not believe it. Instead of proving her innocence, the father she loved could say something that implied she was the culprit of the arson. Before long, Sira was escorted to the dungeon under the soldiers' insults. The cruel people sneered, saying she got what she deserved after failing to seduce the Crown Prince 3 years ago and now committing arson and murder. Sira was humiliated, roughly shoved into the cell, feeling deeply resentful. At this moment, no one would listen to her explanations. She truly did not know who set the fire that killed the Crown Prince and framed her. Because of the gag and the chains that bound her magic, she couldn't break free. She had to find another way to escape. As she was thinking, Sira saw a familiar figure. Her eyes immediately brightened. When she saw her beloved sister standing in front of her, Daisy signaled her to stay quiet. After a moment, Daisy unlocked the cell door and stepped inside to meet Sira. The Duke's eldest daughter showed a deeply worried expression as she spoke to her younger sister, "Sira, you need to leave here first. Wait until father and I find the real culprit. Then you can return." She used sweet, comforting words to reassure her naive sister. "I'm sorry, you had to be imprisoned to make the real culprit lower their guard. It's unfair for you." Sira wiped the tears from her eyes and responded affectionately, "Sister, you did it all for me. I don't feel wronged. The Crown Prince was your fiancé. How could I kill him?" Daisy also showed understanding. "I know, you wouldn't do something like that." Suddenly, tears streamed down Sira's face like a waterfall. "I thought both of you didn't need me anymore." Daisy gently stroked her sister's face, indicating, "You are my sister. How could I ever abandon you? All right, hurry up and go. It won't be too long before we find the real culprit." Hearing this, Sira's face brightened. She fully believed in what her sister said. Soon, Daisy gave her cloak to Sira, intending to help her successfully escape from the dungeon. Before leaving, Sira looked back longingly at her kind sister. She thought to herself that they would meet again soon and never be separated. Little did Sira know, as she turned her back on Daisy, the latter's face no longer held the gentle expression it had before. With faith in her sister, Sira quickly escaped from the dungeon. But waiting for her in the light was hell itself. As soon as she stepped out, she was ambushed and killed on the spot. The Crown Prince, Arthur, used his sharp sword to end Sira's life, accusing her, criminal Sira, after using dark magic to injure the Duke's eldest daughter. "You escaped from prison. Your sins are heavy." At this moment, Sira could not believe that the people she trusted the most could frame her. Daisy still maintained a saintly expression, despite being gravely injured. She feigned an explanation, "Perhaps someone else is impersonating her. My Sira would never harm me." This insincere explanation did not convince Crown Prince Arthur. He immediately rebutted, "Daisy, there's no need to make excuses for her. The dark magic on her chest comes from Lancaster, but is pitch black. This is irrefutable evidence. Your sister has fallen into dark sorcery. To prevent her from continuing her evil deeds, according to the law, I, as a member of the royal family, will extract her magic core." As he spoke, the Crown Prince drew his sword, giving Sira no chance to argue, and ruthlessly ended her life. Soon, Sira lay in a pool of blood, her body mangled. Seeing the energy in his hand, the Crown Prince smiled with satisfaction. As expected of a dark sorcerer, her magic is very strong. It's a good thing we extracted the magic core early. Or the consequences would have been unimaginable. Lying in a pool of blood, Sira couldn't believe this was real. She couldn't believe her magic had been taken from her just like that. The Crown Prince handed the magic to Daisy. Despite her apparent reluctance, he insisted that such powerful magic could only be entrusted to a kind-hearted sorceress like her. Daisy accepted the power with a sorrowful expression. She then walked towards Sira. Seeing her sister in front of her, Sira trembled and spoke, "You know it wasn't me. The dark magic from the Lancaster family wasn't hers, it was Daisy's." Before she could say anything more, Daisy leaned in and whispered in her ear, admitting bluntly, "Of course, it wasn't you, my poor sister. The person who set the Crown Prince on fire wasn't you either." At this moment, Daisy's true face was revealed to Sira. She shamelessly said in front of her sister, "It's all for this power. You love me very much, right? So, give it to me." Seeing the sister, who always pretended to be kind, now uttering such cruel words, despair and resentment filled Sira's eyes. In a moment of uncontrollable rage, she screamed, "Why are you treating me like this? Aren't I your sister?" At this moment, to everyone else, Sira was a villainess that needed to be eliminated. She could not explain anything further, and could only cry out in frustration. Believing that Sira wanted to harm Daisy, the Crown Prince approached her with his sword and snarled, "Daisy's kindness has tolerated this villainess for too long. No need to wait until tomorrow, she will be executed now." He then grabbed Sira's head roughly and dragged her to the execution platform in front of the crowd. Sira's eyes became vacant. She could only hear the curses directed at her from below. The crowd shouted for her to be burned as punishment. And so, the ordinary people contributed to a tragic death for the young maiden. Sira was burned alive on the execution platform, the agony engulfing her until she lost consciousness. As the fierce flames consumed her, Sira finally realized that everything stemmed from her foolishness. But after all, it wasn't her who was dying. If she could start over, Sira vowed that she would no longer be foolishly kind, she would make those who feigned kindness pay. From the mysteries of the universe, the pain brought Sira's consciousness to a strange space. There, she heard a familiar voice, "I told you, there is nothing good about humans. But you didn't believe me." Just as a necklace was placed around Sira's neck by a stranger, she suddenly woke up and recognized who was in front of her. The mysterious woman moved her lips and said to Sira, "Go and complete what you want to do." Then, the woman hugged Sira. This hug gradually dispelled all the pain inside her. Sira left the space with the strange necklace, and when she opened her eyes again, she found herself lying on a bed. Judging by the surroundings, Sira quickly realized she was in the Crown Prince's palace. At first, she did not understand what had happened, but as she sat up, she saw that she was bound by a chain. Familiar memories began to flood into her mind. The heroine had returned to 3 years before her death. Turning back time to the past, 3 years ago, Sira had been drugged and falsely accused of seducing the Crown Prince. After being discovered, she was thrown into the streets. News of the Duke's second daughter crawling into the Crown Prince's bed and seducing her sister's fiancé quickly spread everywhere. Since then, the Crown Prince despised her and banned her from studying at the Magic Academy. At that time, Sira's fiancé was the Crown Prince. After learning about the incident, he also broke off the engagement with her. However, this did not sadden her because she did not love him. Recalling the painful memories of her past life, Sira felt no attachment to her current situation. The fact that she had been wronged and killed made Sira think that perhaps even the heavens could not bear it, so they allowed her to return to the past. At that moment, Sira heard the sound of the door being opened. A shadowy figure stood in the doorway. The heroine quickly pretended to still be unconscious to avoid arousing suspicion. The Duke's eldest daughter, Daisy, showed no mercy. She took a bottle of potion and forcibly poured it into Sira's mouth. Believing her plan had succeeded, she coldly said, "The Lancaster family doesn't need 2 mags. The Magic Academy won't need you." At this moment, Daisy no longer had the kind expression she usually wore. She revealed her true nature as a vicious fox and said to Sira, who was lying on the bed, "Clearly, you're just an illegitimate child. How dare you dream of studying at the same academy as me? From now on, you'll never appear at the academy again." With that, she left. Sira heard the door close and finally felt safe to open her eyes. She was no longer the naive Sira of her past life. Remembering how Daisy had trapped her, Syrah smiled maliciously and thought, "You really have been plotting for a long time, haven't you? If that's the case, I won't hold back either. Let's settle old scores and new grievances together. Living again to start everything over." Syrah had returned from hell, a demon seeking revenge on those who had wronged her. Syrah had returned to the time before she was framed, but this time she would not let things go as Daisy wished. Earlier, the scene of Daisy forcibly administering the potion had been captured by the heroine using magic. Alchemy, originating from ancient times, could create new magical artifacts with the addition of enchantments. But alchemists were very rare. Having one in the family could elevate the family to a high status. 3 years ago, the Crown Prince almost had all the alchemists. Coupled with overthrowing other families, the Lancaster family quickly weakened within a year. Syrah remembered the previous conversation with her father and Daisy. The Duke of Lancaster had told his 2 daughters, "Now the situation is dire. It seems we still have to create magical weapons for the family to rise again." Daisy reassured him, "Don't worry, father. We will surely return to the family's former glory." But Duke Lancaster expressed that what they needed were magic weapon creators, all of whom were under the Crown Prince's command. Now, Duke Lancaster could only hope in Syrah. He calmly remarked, "In the clan, only Syrah can create magic weapons." At that time, Daisy put on the guise of a great elder sister to prevent this, claiming it was too much of a burden for her younger sister. But Syrah didn't think so. She naively said, "If it's just making a few more magic weapons, I can do it." From that moment, perhaps the seeds of harm had already been sown in Daisy's mind. Remembering what she had said, Syrah felt she had been too foolish. She once thought it was familial love, but it was merely exploitation. Despite everything she did for the family, they all just saw her as a tool. At this moment, Syrah resolved to cherish the chance the heavens had given her. She would change the future. This time, she would not be the one to die. Immediately, Syrah ran out the door, shouting, "Help, someone wants to kill me." A young man saw someone rushing out from the Crown Prince's room and angrily questioned, "Who are you? Why are you here?" "This is the Crown Prince's mansion." Syrah glanced to the side and her eyes met the cold face of Crown Prince Rio. At this moment, Syrah tried to appear terrified and said to him, it's you who wants to kill me." After saying that, she grabbed her skirt and ran, leaving the blonde youth fuming. "How dare you speak of His Highness the Crown Prince like that?" Crown Prince Rio remained calm and instructed his subordinate, "Don't mind her. She is the second daughter of the Duke's house. Originally, it was supposed to be her sister here today. I don't know what they are up to. Send someone to follow her and make sure she doesn't cause any trouble outside." The subordinate hurriedly chased after Syrah, but unfortunately, she had already left the palace, attracting the attention of those around. Suddenly, Syrah stumbled and fell on the steps. Despite the bone-piercing pain, she mumbled, "Help, someone wants to kill me." The subordinate, seeing this, was flustered and advised, "Don't do this." The pitiful scene drew the attention of the onlookers, who started murmuring, "Whose daughter is this? Isn't it a kidnapping?" The subordinate immediately denied, "It's not like that at all." At this moment, the sound of a carriage echoed from the roadside. Syrah turned and saw it was the Duke's carriage. Daisy had indeed been waiting here to watch the show. Syrah tried to explain to her sister, "I don't know what happened. I just woke up like this." Meanwhile, Crown Prince Rio approached from afar. Hearing Syrah claim that it was he who tried to kill her, Daisy's face showed confusion. Deciding to maintain her pretense, she continued to comfort Syrah. Daisy stepped forward and faced Crown Prince Rio, "Your Highness, please spare my sister. She has always admired you. Please spare her life. Our engagement can be annulled, and my sister will attend the academy in the future." Daisy's words seemed protective, but actually emphasized the issue of attending the academy. As she had hoped, the Crown Prince soon spoke, "Then let it be as you said. Your sister will not attend the Magic Academy, and our engagement is hereby annulled. This matter ends here." Upon hearing this, Syrah pretended to be agitated, "They want to kill me. We did nothing wrong." Despite Daisy's whispered persuasion, Syrah deliberately said, "Sister, I have something that can prove they harmed me." At this, everyone mocked her. How could that be? Shameless, illegitimate girl. Even Daisy lost patience. "Sister, stop causing trouble." Suddenly, Syrah took out something mysterious and said, "This is a magic weapon I created, called the Green Shadow Device. Earlier at home, she had completed it but hadn't turned it off. It must have recorded the situation she encountered. Immediately, Sira projected the magic device into the sky. A series of images appeared immediately. The scene of Daisy forcefully drugging her sister, and then saying malicious words was revealed. Daisy's malicious face was seen by everyone. At this moment, Sira pretended not to know anything, excitedly questioning her sister. How could it be? Was it you? Impossible. I don't believe it. I trusted you, she said, crying pitifully. This time, Daisy could no longer deny it. She couldn't believe that as the eldest and most outstanding daughter of the Lancasters, she would fall into such a scandal. The crowd began to mock Daisy. In an unnoticed corner, Crown Prince Rio smiled with satisfaction. At this moment, Sira calmly watched what was happening. She was just telling the truth to everyone. Compared to what she had gone through, this was just the beginning. Seeing Daisy in such a miserable state made Sira very happy. At this moment, Daisy seemed to fall into silence, not knowing how to defend herself. Just then, the sound of a horse's neighing attracted everyone's attention. Duke Lancaster arrived, saying he was just passing by but heard that his daughter had offended the Crown Prince. So he came to apologize. These words made Rio smirk, further confirming that this was orchestrated by the Duke's family. Duke Lancaster indeed favored his eldest daughter. Sira also realized that her beloved father appeared to save Daisy from an unfavorable situation. In front of everyone, Duke Lancaster calmly said, "Our family acknowledges our mistakes. The Lancasters will not lose knightly dignity. I will take my 2 daughters home for proper education," he continued. It seemed fair, but this matter had become a private family issue. Sira wondered how her father planned to deal with Daisy's tarnished reputation. Taking advantage of the situation, Duke Lancaster diverted attention by saying, "I was on my way to inspect the construction site. I have good news to share. The Lancaster Welfare Institute's construction is nearly complete. We are willing to take in all homeless children, ensuring they grow up healthy. If anyone is interested in adopting, you are welcome to join us in helping these angels." As expected, his words changed everyone's view of the Lancaster family, with people praising their benevolent actions one by one. Only Sira knew that the Duke merely wanted the family to gain a good reputation, while using this incident to extort money from the royal family. Thinking about this, Sira wondered how the children in the Welfare Institute would fare. In this life, she decided to pay some attention to them. The Lancaster family would eventually be destroyed. Within a year, major families would start competing for alchemists, most of whom were in the hands of the Crown Prince. The Duke's family had aligned themselves with the second prince. Apart from Sira, the Duke's family had no more outstanding alchemists. They faced bankruptcy multiple times. Therefore, Sira decided to leave before that happens. No longer risking her life for them. Soon, she could walk her own path. At that moment, in Daisy's room, the maid bowed and tried to explain that the potion was given to her by the Grand Master, and she had never touched its contents. Daisy, appearing gentle, said, "Perhaps I used too little of the dosage. This is not your fault." The maid was very pleased by these words. To continue flattering her young mistress, she deliberately mentioned Sira. Unexpectedly, the mention of Sira made Daisy furious. "Are you discussing it with me? She will never be able to attend the Magic Academy again. What if she knows alchemy? Do you think that illegitimate child has more talent than me?" Realizing her mistress was angry, the maid trembled and denied it, but it was too late. A moment later, she lay in a pool of her own blood. After the previous incident, Duke Lancaster punished Sira and Daisy with house arrest. However, the academy would start in a month, and Daisy would be attending. This didn't affect her, so Sira decided she needed to obtain permission to enroll. She believed that as long as she controlled the time spent outside, no one would notice her. In reality, Sira lived in an old building next to the storage room, while Daisy's bedroom was located at the center of the Duke's residence. Looking at the modest room in front of her, Sira realized that she had never thought her living conditions were so shabby before. None of the things here were valuable enough for her to take. Suddenly, Sira noticed the pendant around her neck and wondered if she had worn it before. After a moment, she decided to keep it for now and sell it when the time was right. The urgent matter was to find someone who could help her get into the academy. Sira went to the Duke's residence. The attendant looked at her in surprise and exclaimed, "You really came?" Sira removed her cloak and stated, "I want to see His Highness, the Duke." The attendant led Sira to the guest room, and on the way, he couldn't help but comment, "The Duke instructed that if you came, you would be brought to see him." I didn't expect such a thing to happen this afternoon, but you really came. The attendant then changed his expression and warned Sira, if you dare to do anything harmful to the Duke, I will not forgive you. Soon, they arrived in front of the Duke's room, and Sira was seen standing there. Rio coldly said, you arrived a little earlier than I expected. The Duke, Rio, invited Sira to sit down and discuss. Sira was the first to speak, Your Highness, I feel sorry for the previous misunderstanding. I misjudged you. Rio's expression softened, showing satisfaction. A moment later, he waved his hand in a wise manner and said, you didn't come here just to apologize, did you? Without hesitation, Sira replied, yes, Your Highness. I am here to seek cooperation with you. Hearing this, Rio indicated for her to continue. Sira immediately laid out her plan, I want to go to the academy. Can I join? You must need a magic alchemist, right? Rio agreed to Sira's request to join the academy without much hesitation. He then outlined his own plan, coincidentally, I need someone for a project. You could join the team and participate in the competition. Seeing that Sira didn't understand, he tried to explain further. It's the annual competition held by the Magic Academy. The final winner has a chance to win a title and land, but this is quite a distance from you. I can write a recommendation letter for you to enter the academy, but you need to create a magic device I want within 3 days. Hearing this, Sira felt that the deal wasn't worth it. Making a magical artifact in 3 days was a tough task, essentially a lion's share of the work. However, for her future, she had no choice but to agree. Within 3 days, she would make the magical artifact the prince wanted. At the corner of the Duke's estate, after leaving the prince's palace, Sira returned to the estate through a secret entrance. Just as she was about to get inside, a patrol of guards appeared unexpectedly. Fearing she would be discovered, suddenly a flash of light emanated from Sira, and soon she disappeared from sight. The guards failed to detect her mysterious disappearance. In another space, Sira felt that her necklace could pull people inside it. As she became aware of her surroundings, she discovered a strange man was strangling her. Sira struggled and screamed, trying to free herself from the man's strong grip. Where was she? Inside her necklace. Was he a spirit of the artifact? The man with grey hair suddenly spoke. Don't move. Now you are my slave. The man, with a strict gaze, looked at Sira. He then spoke in a way reminiscent of a Chinese drama's CEO, you belong to me now. Sira, after a while of futile resistance, tried to calm down and asked him, what do you want? You're the spirit of this necklace. Although you can condense into a physical form, you can't leave here, can you? For those unfamiliar, spirits are small entities born from certain items and usually cannot leave the item they inhabit. Despite being controlled, Sira tried to negotiate with him. If you want to get out, I can help you, but with your current attitude, it will be very difficult for me to cooperate. At this moment, the man with grey hair spoke again, am I a spirit? Don't get confused. Comparing me to such a lowly creature is truly laughable. The grey-haired boy lifted Sira's chin and said suggestively, obey me. Your master's name is Asute. I am an ancient deity. Hearing the name Asute, Sira recalled one of the supreme ancient gods, who was said to have vanished one day. She wondered why Asute was in her necklace. As she looked into the purple glowing eyes of the other party, a familiar feeling surged in her memory. The divine face and long hair seemed to have been seen somewhere before. At that moment, a voice suddenly penetrated Sira's subconscious, Sira, wake up. When Sira opened her eyes again, she felt everything around her moving continuously. Asute was biting her neck to create a master-servant pact. At this moment, Sira's inner self wanted to scream. She could not make this pact now because she still had things to do. A grudge to settle, and a new life to live. Realizing that Asute was focusing on creating the pact, Sira struggled to get up. Using all her strength, she pushed him away. Though the effort drained her, she successfully turned the situation around, delaying the contract. Sira looked deeply into Asute's eyes and said bluntly, I refuse your unilateral pact. No matter if you are a god or something else, you cannot disrupt my will. Hearing this, Asute found it amusing. Humans are so insignificant. I admit that you have exceeded my expectations. The light attribute magic is indeed rare. But with your current strength, binding me is only temporary. When you can no longer resist, I will still make the pact with you. Sira smiled wickedly upon hearing this. She then gently tapped his face with a flirtatious touch. You still don't understand the situation. Even if my magic is weak, killing a weaker soul like yours is not difficult. It seemed that these words touched Asuit's forbidden area. His expression changed immediately. Seizing the opportunity, Sira's surroundings began to glow, and she said, "Try calling me again. It turns out that I am the real master." Immediately, a strange light appeared around the two of them. This was an ancient, lost magic. Sira was astonished. Lost magic was a forbidden art that had vanished along with the gods. At this moment, Asute casually said, "I can help you increase your magical power and advance to become a deity. In return, I need you to resurrect me once you become a god." Curious, Sira asked, "What is your purpose?" But Asute seemed unwilling to reveal his goals, simply smiling and suggesting, "Don't ask too many questions. Just focus on absorbing this magical power. For now." Soon, the energy that had been there entered Sira's body. She had never encountered a magical system as complex as this before. With her current magical power, she could perhaps only freeze a small area for a short time. However, as she reached the level of Grand Mage, this power would increase. With her suspicions about Asute, Sira asked, "Are you saying you reverse time, so I could relive 3 years ago?" Asute, with an unchanged expression, replied, "I haven't done such trivial things. You once died. Going back 3 years is not something I can do." At this moment, Sira stepped away from Asute. With an air of dominance, she said, "Don't ask too many questions, this doesn't concern you. Let's complete the contract." Asute, hearing this, didn't say much more. He nodded in agreement with her words. The two began to form the contract. They called each other's names to activate the magic contract. Sira and Asute agreed to an equal contract. They used their blood as testimony. From this moment on, as long as one lived, the other would live. If one died, the other would die. Their lives were now intertwined. The contract was soon completed, and Sira was freed from the space within the necklace. As soon as she stepped out, a voice from her mind conveyed, "In the future, if you have any issues, you can find me." Inside the necklace, Asute contemplatively looked at the ring he had signed with Sira. The contract was complete, and their fates were now one. The ring he had inhabited had become another conduit. Because of the contract, Sira also had a ring, similar to the original necklace. This ring could channel magical power into both dead and living objects, but not into beings with magical power higher than humans. Sira silently asked Asute, "Can you come out now?" Asute replied, "Your magical power is too low right now. When you reach the initial level of magic, I will be able to come out." Hearing this, Sira didn't ask further. She entered through the window successfully and planned to enhance her magical power, complete the prince's task, and then enroll in the Magic Academy. 16 years ago, when Sira was just a baby in swaddling clothes, her mother had told her that her life was coming to an end. At that time, Sira was just an infant, and her only relative in the world was her mother. Yet, she was about to leave Sira behind. Before leaving, Sira's mother gave her a pendant, saying, "This is the sacred artifact of our clan. You must take good care of it." After those words, the woman departed, urging Sira to live well, break the curse of not surviving past 19 years old, and not let her father find her. With no father or mother, Sira grew up alone in the forest. Until one day, her father, the Duke, appeared and brought her to the Lancaster estate. At that time, Sira felt very relieved that she hadn't come from a stone. The Duke, upon seeing her, merely remarked coldly, "So, you're the daughter." The Duke's stern demeanor made the small Sira feel extremely tense. Duke Lancaster introduced Daisy as his illegitimate daughter to his family, saying, "From now on, you will be the daughter of the Duke's estate." At that time, Sira was very eager to get to know Daisy. However, she was met with Daisy's cold, indifferent face. Sira received disdainful looks from the servants in the Duke's estate because she was the lowly illegitimate child. In the second year at the Duke's estate, she awakened her magical core. It was then that Daisy truly began to pay attention to her, saying, "You know alchemy. Light magic is very rare." When Daisy smiled, Sira felt as if that warm smile shone upon her like a hunted creature. Sira vowed to settle all the falsehoods and harm done to her later on. She pretended to be virtuous on the surface, hiding her true intentions. Back in the present, while dining with the Duke and her sister, thoughts raced through Sira's mind, causing her to burst into laughter. Daisy, noticing this, asked curiously, "Sira, what's wrong?" The protagonist replied, "I realize now that I misunderstood you. Regarding what happened at the Duke's estate, I understand that you didn't really mean to harm me. I understand everything now. Daisy responded to her sister's words with feigned nonchalance, saying, "It's fine. I've let it go." Sira then firmly said to her father, "If that's the case, father, I have a request. Please allow me to go out. With my sister's coming of age ceremony soon. I want to choose a gift for her to express my remorse." Duke Lancaster was pleased with this request, thinking it would be good for Sira to apologize to Daisy during the coming of age ceremony. Daisy, sensing something unusual about her sister, subtly hinted to her father that she didn't want Sira's confinement to be lifted so quickly. However, her father decided otherwise, stating, "If it's removed so soon, it might not be ideal." Duke Lancaster pondered for a moment before making a decision. It seems that all the nobles will be present that day. The incident at the Duke's estate should be completely clarified. For the sake of the Duke's estate's reputation, Sira, if you apologize properly to Daisy that day, I will lift the confinement for both of you. Sira immediately agreed without hesitation. Daisy smiled and said, "I'm looking forward to the gift you'll give me that day." Sira's gaze turned cold as she smirked. "I'm looking forward to your coming-of-age ceremony as well." In reality, Sira had secretly prepared a gift that would make Daisy remember it for the rest of her life. A while later, in the Duke's study, Daisy privately spoke with her father, saying, "I feel that Sira is acting a bit strange. Sira is not like she was before. Could it be that she won't obey me in the future?" The Duke's expression darkened, and he responded firmly, "Lancaster is her home, and I am her father. If Sira does not follow the family's orders, she will be considered ungrateful and a traitor." He then suggested, "After your coming-of-age ceremony, let Sira be your personal alchemist." The Duke's next words were quite vile. He planned to sell the magical artifacts created by Sira, and claim they were made by Daisy. This way, once Daisy inherited the title, other families would be suppressed under them. All the Duke's schemes were for Daisy's benefit. Daisy smiled maliciously and said to her father, "Don't worry, father. Sira is my only sister, and I will take good care of her." At that moment, Asute was talking with Sira. The grey-haired man suggested that if anyone made her unhappy, she should just kill them. After all, her older sister, Daisy, was just a high-level mage. Hearing Asute call Daisy ugly golden-haired, Sira privately disagreed. Although Daisy was cruel, she was quite beautiful among the nobles. "I'm only at the 2-star level now. I'll endure for now and take revenge after I level up." At this moment, Asute suddenly offered, "Do you want me to help you take action?" Sira immediately declined, wanting to take revenge herself. Asute didn't press the issue, saying, "Fine, it's up to you. I'm going to sleep now. I just woke up and still need to recover my magic power." With no one else to talk to, Sira felt a bit bored and decided to go shopping to relieve her stress. She walked along the Paladin Cross Street. This area sold various magical items. In her previous life, Sira often came here to earn money as a crafter. Now, however, she was so impoverished that she couldn't afford anything. At this moment, Sira noticed a store selling imperial magical artifacts. Such stores were usually only accessible to nobles. However, the current amount of money she had couldn't buy anything inside. Seeing a shop that bought scrap materials next door, she suddenly felt excited, thinking it might be her chance to make money. Sira went to the scrap material shop and asked, "Sir, what kind of scrap materials do you have?" The old man, seeing her interest, asked suspiciously, "Are you here to buy scrap materials?" Sira replied casually, "Yes, I just want to see what you have." At that moment, a girl with curly hair noticed Sira and exclaimed, "Hey, look at that. Isn't that the lowly girl from Lady Daisy's family?" The girl with curly hair said disdainfully, "She looks like she's up to no good. Everyone knows about what happened at the prince's residence. She dared to come out flaunting herself after causing trouble for Lady Daisy." Despite her brother's attempts to stop her, the haughty young woman continued to approach Sira, intending to teach her a lesson. She seemed quite familiar with Daisy, so upon encountering Sira, she wanted to pick a fight. "Today, I'll teach you a lesson on behalf of Lady Daisy. A lowly, filthy person like you should stay in the mud." At this moment, the shop owner curiously asked Sira, "Young lady, which scrap materials are you interested in?" Sira selected a few items and then asked the shop owner, "I'll buy all of these. How much is it?" The shop owner, seeing that Sira appeared to be indifferent to money, decided to quote a high price. Just as he was about to mention the exorbitant amount, the curly-haired girl boldly approached and mocked, "Isn't this the illegitimate daughter, who seduced the prince and was cast out. How dare she come out flaunting herself? Does she intend to seduce someone else? Her loud words drew the attention of everyone around. In response to the other's words, Sira casually spoke, "Viscountess, are you large trash? So you came here to be collected? Do you need me to ask how much you're worth?" Hearing the insult, the Viscountess was so angry she almost spat blood. "What did you say? You dare insult me, you wench? I'll tell Lady Daisy." Sira smiled and continued her attack. "Go ahead. Your mouth is so filthy, it's full of shit. I thought you were trash." Sira's calm demeanor and sharp words astonished everyone present. At that moment, Sira delivered her final blow. "Viscountess, your Viscounty, in front of my dukedom, are you insulting me or the dukedom?" Sira understood one truth very well. People are like that. They will flatter the nobility, but oppress the poor among them, thinking they can become part of that circle to gain their value, not realizing they are just a dog for the upper class. Sira's imposing demeanor caught the eye of the young Viscount. He felt that Lady Sira was not quite the same as before. Insulted by Sira in front of everyone, the Viscountess angrily raised her hand to slap her. But unexpectedly, Sira gently caught her hand. Right after that, the female lead without hesitation brushed off the arrogant girl's hand and gave her a painful slap. In front of everyone. Sira, with poise, said, "When you hit someone, that's how you hit." "Got it, Miss Viscount." The curly-haired girl now could only tremble with indignation, her face swelling like a pig's head from the painful slap. At this moment, the young Viscount stepped in to mediate. "Sister, you were wrong too," but the curly-haired girl refused to admit her fault. She pointed and shouted, "She hit me, now you hit her back, right now, immediately." Out of options, the young Viscount sighed and reminded his sister of their main task. "Today, we are here to choose a birthday gift for your sister Daisy. We need to pick the best gift for Daisy. If we are late, the best one will be bought by someone else." Amy, hearing this, excitedly exclaimed, "That won't do. Daisy's gift must be the best. Let's go choose the gift first." As they left, Amy didn't forget to remind her brother, "Next time you see Sira, make sure to hit her back." Faced with his spoiled sister, the young Viscount could only reluctantly agree. Before leaving, Amy didn't forget to disparage Sira, saying she only deserved to buy some trash. "Let's see what kind of decent gift you can give for Daisy's birthday." Seeing Sira still ignoring her, Amy continued to attack. "You're so poor. I'll go to a VIP store, everything there is something you'll never afford in your life." However, these words still didn't make Sira angry. In fact, the heroine just saw this as the barking of a dog when a stranger approached. Seeing Sira still calm and unresponsive, the stall owner curiously asked, "Miss, aren't you angry?" Sira gently replied, "She is too stupid. Getting hit and still being able to laugh, why should I be angry with such a person?" Then Sira shifted her attention to a black egg on the table. At a glance, she recognized it as a monster egg. Perhaps the stall owner didn't know the value of his goods and placed it among the junk on the table. Sira started bargaining with the stall owner. "Boss, I'll take everything in your shop. Give me a discount, how about 10 coins? Sira's display of strength earlier had immediately extinguished any intention the stall owner had of overcharging her. He promptly indicated, "Take whatever you want." Hearing this, Sira was extremely happy. She couldn't believe that spending 10 coins could buy her such great wealth. Soon, all the waste products were in the ring. Sira guessed that Esith was probably sleeping at this hour, so there was no reaction. She decided to go to the magic tower to open a basic room for 1 hour to refine these waste products into gold coins. At the center of the commercial road, the magic tower provides various elemental magic rooms from basic to intermediate to advanced levels, which can help with training and are very private and discreet. Sira only needed a basic room to perform the creation spell. She went to the cashier to rent a basic room for 1 hour at the price of 5 coins. The receptionist took the money and then gave instructions, handing over the room card, turn left and choose a room. 1 hour later the room would automatically deactivate. Seeing Sira in the appearance of a noble lady, but spending 5 coins to rent a basic room for 1 hour, the receptionist secretly despised her. Truly a poor ghost. Soon, Sira successfully activated the basic room for 1 hour. Seeing the space inside, she felt extremely satisfied. Integrating magical shielding so others won't know what you're doing. Immediately, Sira began alchemy. One must know that alchemy is something every creator spends their whole life pursuing, but in her previous life, before she died. Syrah had already learned this secret. As long as it reacts to metal elements, she can turn it into gold coins. Money, status, power, all of Lancaster relied on her. As soon as she succeeded in making gold coins, Syrah couldn't help but marvel. The sound of gold coins was indeed melodious and pleasing. At this time, in the Imperial Magic Shop, the Amy brothers were astonished when they heard the price of the earrings in the display was 1,000 gold coins. Andrei tried to negotiate with the seller, saying that an A-rank magic item usually costs around 500 gold. The seller replied, "Yes, young Master Andrei, but these earrings are S-rank magic items, which are extremely rare." The seller's words left the Amy brothers speechless. The seller continued, "Originally, my master wanted to sell these at the auction, but there are enough auction items this time, so we are selling them in the shop." Hearing that S-rank magic items were just backups for the auction, the Amy brothers were once again astonished. Andrei told his younger sister, "Today we only brought nearly 600 gold. It's better to choose an A-rank magic weapon." Her brother said so, but Amy still wanted to buy this item because she believed that her sister Daisy would like an S-rank magic weapon. After thinking for a moment, Amy suggested that her brother go home to get more money. More than anyone, Andrei understood his sister's stubborn nature. He knew that if he didn't agree, she would make a scene. Moreover, 1,000 gold was almost equivalent to more than a year's profit for a viscount's estate. But for his sister, before leaving, Andrei warned Amy, "Then you must promise me that you won't cause trouble for no reason, and you won't bully the second daughter of the Duke's family." Amy, hearing her brother defend an outsider, became indignant. "Are you really my brother? Why are you always siding with others?" Having no choice, Amy had to agree to her brother's conditions. Just as Andrei was about to leave, a bell suddenly rang outside the door, and Syrah entered with an air of authority. The moment he saw Syrah's beautiful appearance, Andrei couldn't help but stare for a moment before calling her name. Seeing Andrei, an old acquaintance, Syrah politely greeted him, then immediately hinted that he should step aside so she could go inside. Being subtly reminded, Andrei sheepishly moved aside to make way for her. Seeing Syrah appear in this place, Amy approached her with disdain, asking, "What are you doing here?" Syrah still didn't care about Amy's words and directly ignored her, walking towards the display of magical artifacts. Just as Amy assumed Syrah was a country bumpkin who had never seen the world and couldn't afford what was inside the glass case. The female lead said to the salesperson, "How much is this?" "I'll buy it." The salesperson, assuming Syrah couldn't afford such a luxurious item, smiled politely and said, "Miss, this is 1,000. Would you like to see something else?" Syrah didn't say much, just waved her ring, and immediately, 1,000 gold coins appeared in front of the vendor. Seeing that Syrah had so much money, Amy silently guessed that this money was given to her by the second prince. But thinking again, the one the second prince liked was Daisy, so she guessed that Syrah stole the money. Immediately, Amy approached and grabbed Syrah's hand, exclaiming excitedly, "Where did you get the money? How do you have so much?" The vendor, seeing Amy's actions, wanted to intervene, but was unexpectedly rebuffed. "Don't sell to her, she is an illegitimate child of the Duke's household. Her money is surely dirty." Hearing this, Syrah realized that Amy was making false accusations to pick a fight with her. Syrah just smirked, looked straight at her opponent, and said, "Then prove I stole it." These words made Amy even more convinced that Syrah was the thief. As the saying goes, don't argue with fools. Syrah didn't want to react to someone like Amy, so she pushed her aside. "I have nothing to say to fools. Just wrap up my goods." However, Amy still didn't want to give up. She rushed forward to stop the vendor. "No, this is something I saw first, I wanted it first." Syrah stepped aside, smirking and taunting, "Did you pay for it yet? Or have you put a deposit down? If not, it's mine." At that moment, a bell rang from outside the door. Andrei walked in and saw his sister causing a commotion in the hall. Seeing her brother, Amy desperately pulled him towards her. "This is what we wanted first, right?" The vendor, understanding the situation, respectfully informed Andrei, "Miss Syrah has already bought the S-class magic item." Hearing this, Andrei was secretly pleased because 1,000 gold coins were half of his black market earnings. Outwardly, he comforted his sister, "Actually, giving an A-class magic item is already very good. Let's go, Amy, we'll choose something else." But Amy couldn't stand the idea of losing to Syrah. She impulsively shouted, demanding that specific gift. Immediately, Andrei's face turned grim. He spoke in a dangerous tone. Have you had enough? This terrifying demeanor of her older brother is something Amy is witnessing for the first time, leaving her momentarily speechless with fear. At this moment, Andrei turns to the shopkeeper and Sira, apologizing. I'm really sorry for causing you trouble. Seeing Andrei's demeanor and behavior, Sira silently concludes that he is someone who is reasonable. After apologizing to the shopkeeper and Sira, Andrei coldly tells his sister, let's go, we'll choose an A-rank magic weapon from another shop, otherwise, we are not buying anything. Having been humiliated multiple times in one day, Amy now harbors extreme hatred towards Sira. Before leaving, she doesn't forget to curse the heroine, Sira. Just you wait. You're a filthy creature that crawled out from the mud. You're not even worth a strand of Daisy's hair. You're unworthy to be the second prince's queen. You will definitely be cast aside, and then, like dirt under my feet, I won't spare you. Facing Amy's words, Sira remains calm, not wanting to argue with her. The shopkeeper, having witnessed everything, believes that Sira must be deeply hurt by those words and is silently wiping away tears. But what disappoints the shopkeeper is that at this moment, Sira is merely thinking indifferently, why did Daisy choose such a worthless dog like Amy to deal with me? After a while, the salesperson presented a gift package along with a black card, saying the card was an invitation to an auction. If she was interested, she could attend. Sira eagerly took the black card. Seeing her smile, the salesperson felt happy too, thinking it was a small joy amidst her misfortunes. Before leaving, Sira gave the salesperson a gift, impressing him with the beautiful girl in front of him. Looking at the gift, the salesperson was astonished because it was a high-grade magic device with recording capabilities. With his keen eye, he believed that Sira would become an extraordinary person. In the future, Sira once again arrived at the magic tower. As soon as everyone saw her elegant demeanor, they couldn't help but exclaim, who is this lady? Truly extraordinary. Sira paid no attention to their words and went directly to the reception desk. The high-grade light cultivation room, I want the room with no time limit. Charge it. Then Sira generously took out a gold card. One must know that an Imperial Bank gold card requires over 10,000 to obtain. The receptionist who had previously looked down on her as a poor demon now had to reconsider who was in front of him. After handing her the room key, he said, the high-grade light attribute room is on the top floor. I'll have someone guide you. Truly, having money makes things easier. The top floor of the building is at an altitude of 8,000 meters, specialized for the linkage of the tower. Here gathers the purest light elements, a glance of gold. The female attendant guided Sira to the advanced light room and happily introduced, the advanced light system training room in this building is the only one, your magic element is very rare. When going downstairs, please use the blue teleportation array next to it, use the red one for going up. Immediately after, the maid led Sira into an extremely large space. As soon as she stepped in, Sira keenly felt the light magic element here had an incredibly strong power. She felt the magic energy in her body flowing very powerfully. After completing the task of guiding the guest to the room, the attendant politely smiled, I wish you success in leveling up, I'll head down first. After there were no outsiders in the room, Sira took out the magical beast egg she had hidden in her ring. Let it absorb some magic elements and see if it can be tamed. Sira uses her energy source to tame the beast egg. Charge with light elements and gather the magical circuits to transform into her own energy. Magic cultivation can only be carried out by someone who awakens with a new source in childhood, between the ages of 6 and 8. Each person has different magical attributes. Water, fire, earth, wind, light, and darkness are the 6 magic elements. The Lancaster family head is traditionally a water element mage. Daisy is one of those chosen to inherit the element. Her magic is ice, a variant of water, which is quite powerful. As for Andre, Daisy's mother comes from a prominent magical background. She and Duke Lancaster are special mags of the Great Magus. Daisy is their daughter, exceptionally intelligent, and is now a high-level first-star mage, while Sira is only a low-level second-star mage. With the determination to quickly spread and ignite more magic power, Sira tries her best to concentrate all her strength to create a new source of energy. Soon, a beam of light emanates from within her body, its power is extremely strong, making Sira feel that she is reaching the peak of the novice level. After a moment, the protagonist realizes that she is still 4 stars away from Daisy. Feeling that it is not enough, she decides to continue focusing her strength to force herself to level up. Unexpectedly, during the execution process, a suit suddenly appears, ordering her to stop. Seeing Asute stepping out from the ring, Sira's eyes reveal a glimmer of excitement. You can finally come out. Asute didn't say much. He suggested that Sira should stop quickly. She had already reached the pinnacle of the beginner level, and would have more opportunities to advance later. Stop quickly, don't continue. Asute's eyes revealed an indescribable reluctance as he spoke. At this moment, the energy that Sira emitted began to weaken. Asute stepped beside her and tried to persuade, saying she could cultivate later, but should stop absorbing elements now. Your body can't handle so much power. Facing these words, Sira responded without humility, saying that in a few days it would be Daisy's coming-of-age ceremony. A month later, the Empire's Academy would start. Asute listened to Sira's words without any intention of interrupting her. Sira smiled and expressed her ambition. The beginner's peak wasn't enough. Now I have to hone my skills. With more power, I have a better chance of winning. The opportunity doesn't come easily. I want to take advantage of this moment to boost my morale and strike them. Sira spoke while continuing to cultivate her energy. Her eyes revealed an unprecedented determination, as if after her death in her previous life, she had long harbored hatred in her heart. Seeing that she still wanted to level up, Asute, without hesitation, extinguished all of her energy. Then he seriously explained to her, even though she could heal the wounds, she would suffer unbearable pain. There was something Asute didn't know. Compared to the pain caused by the energy outburst, it was nothing compared to the pain of having her magic source taken by the second prince. Having died and come back to life once, Sira wasn't afraid of such physical pain. What she feared more was becoming a helpless victim again. Seeing that Sira was still determined not to follow his advice, Asute reluctantly took her hand and offered, "Let me help you. I'll help you level up." Asute wanted to use magic to help Sira absorb power, but the heroine refused. She said that if a mage relies on others to train, their magic will be unstable. Despite being in excruciating pain, Sira maintained her cold demeanor and told Asute, "I don't need any help right now. If you truly want to help me, then help me elsewhere later." Hearing this, Asute had no choice but to hold her in his arms and nod in agreement. At this moment, Sira felt herself getting closer to advancing to the intermediate level. To speed up the process, she broke free from Asute's embrace and used the last bit of her strength to absorb the elements. In an instant, Sira advanced from 1-star intermediate, to 2-star intermediate, to 3-star intermediate, and finally stopped at the peak of the intermediate level. This is the level that Sira desires. At the peak of the intermediate level, she is just 1 star away from Daisy. But this is her limit. After successfully leveling up, exhausted, Sira falls into Asute's arms. Seeing his beautiful girl exhausted from leveling up, Asute looks at her with affectionate eyes. "You've worked hard. Master, please rest." After saying this, he places a passionate kiss on Sira's forehead. Although unconscious, Sira still feels something cool touching her forehead, which gradually warms up. At this moment, the beast egg suddenly makes a sound. Sira wakes up at the same time, wondering why she feels a new promise in her mind. Seeing the egg floating in the air, Asute curiously asks, "What egg is that?" Sira says she doesn't know, but looking at the cracking shell, she guesses it is about to hatch. Just as the female lead said, a second later, the egg hatched a baby crow. Newborns can only cry "ah-ah," but this crow recognized the two people in front of it as its parents. "Mom and Dad, you two are so beautiful. From now on I have a home." Suddenly having a child appear made Sira very surprised. "What is this? Did we already have a connection?" The little crow chirped cheerfully, "Master Mama, are you doing something shameful with Master Papa?" Without giving Sira time to react, Asute suddenly took his coat and gently draped it over Sira. The female lead seemed to remember something and said seriously to the little crow, "Don't call him Master Papa." The little crow curiously asked, "Why not? Weren't you two just kissing?" Sira immediately retorted, "We don't have that kind of relationship." Right after, she spoke loftily, "I am his master, understand?" The little crow indicated that it understood. At this moment, a hand suddenly appeared and grabbed the little crow's head. Asute brought the little crow close to his face and carefully observed it. Seconds later, he cruelly threw it towards Sira, saying, "This is probably a black crow." Asute's words immediately angered the little crow. "I am not an ordinary black crow. I am the king of crows." At this moment, Asute took out a book and tried to look up information about black crows. "You used to lead a tribe of 10,000 beasts, which was the Black Crow tribe. After the gods disappeared, the Black Crow tribe also vanished. The Black Crow tribe excelled in elemental magic. After maturing, they transformed into great dragons, capable of traveling 10,000 miles. Sira, Upon hearing this, became excited. Really that powerful? So what magic do you have now? The Black Crow revealed that it excelled in fireball magic. Right after that, wanting to show off, it slipped out of Sira's palm. So, I'll perform for the master. I thought it would be an earth-shattering performance. Unexpectedly, what the Black Crow spat out was just a small flame. This result made Asute and Sira look at the young crow with different eyes, specifically with contempt. Sira, full of doubt, asked, "What can you do?" The failed performance made the young crow embarrassed for a moment. It boldly told Sira, "I can spit out a fireball that can destroy a city." How could it be so small? It must be because your master is too weak. Hearing the crow blame her, Sira couldn't help but smack its head. At this moment, Asute added information. The young black crow can only spit out a fireball the size of a pea. This news didn't discourage Sira. She stroked the young crow, as if she was very fond of it. "It's still too small, take your time. Even though it's useless, it feels good to the touch. Smooth feathers." Right after that, because she was so fond of the young crow, Sira excitedly named it Roo. When the young crow felt Sira affectionately rubbing its cheek, it sensed a strong killing intent behind it. This killing intent came from the distant god Asute. Even gods are human, so gods also know how to be jealous. At the same time, in the living room of the Duke's mansion, the second Prince Arthur was sitting and talking with Daisy. "Long time no see. Miss Daisy, your magic has improved again." As usual, Daisy responded graciously, "The second prince has a keen eye. It's all thanks to my father helping me advance to high level 2 stars. While talking to Daisy, the second prince couldn't help but mention Sira. "Miss Daisy, you truly have talent, unlike your sister. She's truly useless." As expected, these words made Daisy very pleased internally. However, outwardly she still feigned modesty. "As long as my sister enjoys the luxuries of the Duke's mansion, that's enough. The family's responsibilities should fall on me." The two, playing off each other, made the conversation reek of insincerity. Immediately after, Daisy asked meaningfully, "I wonder when Sira will return." "Your Highness, are you still waiting for her?" Prince Arthur's expression became grim. "It's useless for her to hide. Today, I must break off the engagement with her." After leaving the magical world, Sira excitedly bought a gift for Asute, considering it as a treaty gift between them. Receiving the gift from her, Asute solemnly opened it to see what was inside. He didn't expect that Sira would give him such an elegant coat. In that moment, Asute felt something deep within his heart. He deeply resented the beauty that had harmed her. Those who wanted to harm her. When Asute awoke, even if just for a moment, he saw in the flames Sira's face filled with pain and despair. Her eyes seemed to stir something within him. After Sira returned to the Duke's residence, a servant entered the room and informed her, "Second lady, the first lady and the second prince are waiting for you in the drawing room." Upon hearing this, Sira immediately headed to the drawing room without hesitation. Watching her departing figure, the servant behind her began to gossip. "There's going to be drama today. I heard the second prince is here to break off the engagement. How could a bastard child be worthy of marrying into the royal family? I think she's even worse than us." Ruru just heard the servant talking and immediately asked Sira, "Master, who is the second prince? Is he engaged to you? Is he as handsome as Sun Tung?" Speaking of the engagement between Sira and the second prince, it was arranged because Daisy had already been betrothed to the crown prince. The crown prince is the son of the late empress, who died due to illness. Afterward, the emperor quickly married the new empress. The current empress wanted her son, the second Prince Arthur, to marry into the Duke's house, so an engagement with Sira was arranged. However, this was just a temporary plan, as Daisy had already cancelled her engagement with the crown prince. The empress and the second prince couldn't wait any longer, and wanted to use Sira to replace Daisy in the engagement with the second prince. Thinking of this, Sira felt her sister Daisy was really indiscriminate, because the second prince kept many lovers outside. After getting ready, Sira stepped into the living room. She calmly walked over to the second prince and asked, "What do you need from me?" As soon as he saw Sira, the second prince, without any hesitation, took out the contract. "I won't say much, sign this to annul the engagement." Daisy thought Sira would be sad and cry after the engagement was annulled, but the heroine's attitude disappointed her. Sira took the contract without any hesitation and signed it directly. Then, she didn't forget to sarcastically tell her fake sister, "Can you stop pretending? There are no outsiders here." Arthur heard Sira, Yet he dared to speak disrespectfully to Daisy. He stepped forward intending to protect her. But unexpectedly, it was Sira who ended the conversation. Second Prince, don't appear in front of me unless necessary in the future. Sira's cold demeanor angered the second prince. He thought she was trying to get his attention. Daisy on the side, with a gentle demeanor, comforted the second prince. Don't be mad at my sister, she has some personality issues. Ruru, hearing the blonde girl dare to speak about her master like that, angrily retorted, it's your personality that's the problem. And who do you think you are? Worthy of my master's affection. Daisy, being mocked by a bird, was momentarily speechless. In contrast, the second prince, like a dog whose tail had been stepped on, angrily exclaimed, what did you say? Where did this disrespectful bird come from? At this moment, Sira smirked and called out the second prince's name. She looked at him with disdain, hurry up and get engaged to my sister. I wish you both happiness. Otherwise, you might not have the chance later. Hearing Sira's words, the arrogant Arthur already had a plan in his mind. He decided not to lose his composure in front of Daisy, thinking that Sira was trying to attract his attention. As long as he beckoned, she would sweetly return. Thinking about having both Lancaster sisters, Arthur couldn't help but feel excited. After Sira left, the second prince looked at Daisy with a pleasant expression. Don't worry, I will formally propose to the Duke. I won't let you be wronged. Outwardly, Daisy appeared shy, but she had other plans. She had no intention of marrying the second prince, only using him for the power and wealth of the queen. As night fell, everything became quiet. Sira sat in her room, silently contemplating the Duke's establishment of a public welfare institute. She also thought about the second prince and the queen. In her previous life, she had accidentally seen the Duke's ledger. Recalling the entries in the ledger, Sira suddenly exclaimed, I understand, that's it. Ruru, seeing her master's excitement, curiously asked, what do you understand? Then Sira confidently told Black Raven, tonight we are going to do two big things. After a while, Sira arrived at the second prince's mansion. Here she disguised herself as Agent 007 and observed the patrol guards from above. Through the guards' conversation, she learned their mission was to protect Prince Arthur's money from being stolen. After hearing the footsteps fading away, she sneaked inside through the back entrance. Just stepping in, seeing gold everywhere, Ruru couldn't help but exclaim, oh my god, so much money. The young raven turned to Sira and asked, Master, is the big thing you mentioned stealing all that guy's money? Sira nodded, implying that all that money would be theirs. The female lead believes that the second prince's money is not legitimate. They must return these things to their rightful owners. Meanwhile, the second prince is still unaware that the money he worked hard to earn was stolen during the night. He leisurely embraces his free-spirited lover and says, today is really fun. After breaking off the engagement with that illegitimate child, tomorrow we'll go buy the most expensive diamond. On Daisy's birthday, I will propose to her. With the support of the Duke's mansion, what does that poor crown prince have to compete with me? Scene transition. After stealing all of the second prince's assets, Sira begins to head to a common residential area. At this time, in a dilapidated house, a man and a woman are worried about taxes. The Queen has issued new laws. Commoners like them must pay taxes every year. If they don't pay, they can only go to jail. As the two don't know how to make money, their daughter comes closer and says, Mom, I'm hungry. The mother painfully embraces her daughter. Mom will definitely buy bread tomorrow. At this moment, the father can only stare at the few coins in the box, grinding his teeth in hatred for life. Just then, someone suddenly threw a bag of money into their house from outside the door. This money, just in time, saved the lives of the three-person family. Seeing Sira busy distributing gold coins to the people in the neighborhood, Ruru curiously asked, Master, aren't you keeping any for yourself? Didn't you spend all your money? Sira smirked and replied, why would I take the dirty money of the second prince? Holding it makes me nauseous. The heroine exaggeratedly said she had other ways to make money and didn't need to hold that disgusting money. Ruru, hearing this, excitedly reminded, then when you have money, can you buy roast meat? Sira generously agreed to the little crow's request. After finishing their work, the person and the bird headed home against the setting sun. At the same time, at the capital's welfare institute, the holy women were worried about the Duke's insufficient aid, not enough to cover the children's daily food expenses. From outside, Sira heard two nuns planning to use their savings to support the children, so she knew the headmistress here was a good person. while the two nuns were praying for blessings from the gods. Suddenly a boy rushed in excitedly and said, "Headmistress, the angel sister gave us a lot of money." The headmistress, hearing this, curiously asked, "Where did this money come from?" The boy enthusiastically held the gold coins and said, "There are many more bags outside, all given by the angel sister." After seeing dozens of bags of gold coins in front of her, the headmistress still doubted who gave this money. Suddenly she saw a letter inside the bag of gold coins. As soon as she finished reading the contents, the headmistress's face became serious, and she called the deputy headmistress. She told the deputy headmistress to take the child tonight to a place where the Duke's reach could not extend. On Sira's side, thinking about all the things she had prepared for tomorrow, she couldn't help but laugh heartily. "Tomorrow looks like something interesting will happen." Ruru heard this and curiously asked, "Master, what other big thing is there?" Sira gets up, "Now let's go find the partner for admission." The female lead uses her skills to go straight to Prince Rio's palace. She stands at the door and politely knocks to call him. Seeing Prince Rio step out, Sira casually says, "The item your highness needed is done." Rio, in a very seductive robe, smirks in surprise, "Only half a day, and it's done already, interesting, let me see." Sira hands Rio the item she made, "Your highness, this is the magic weapon I repaired." Rio takes the item, carefully examining its structure. After a moment he assesses, "Restored, your magic attribute is light, the Duke's house hid it well." Sira starts to call him Your Highness, but is corrected, the prince wants her to call him Rio, so Sira casually calls him Rio and then asks, "Can I ask what you want this for?" Rio's expression suddenly became gloomy. Sira ignored the other's expression and continued speaking, "I have seen this insignia in ancient books. It is a magic symbol used for life, forbidden to be used on items. It can only be applied to objects, never to life. This is forbidden magic. I trust His Highness's character enough to believe that he would only hand this over to someone he trusts. But I hope you will tell me what you intend to do with it." At this moment, in front of the crown prince, Sira spoke firmly without any hesitation. Suddenly, Rio crushed the magical item that Sira had given him. This act surprised the female lead a bit. She did not expect the item Rio had asked her to make would be crushed by him in an instant. Holding the fragments of the magical item in his hand, Rio spoke, "I just wanted to confirm if this item could be created. For 10 years, I have always wanted to restore this magical item, but because of the lack of essential magical elements, I couldn't succeed. Now I have the answer." As he spoke, a dark, unreadable glint flashed in Rio's eyes. Sira still doesn't really understand the answer Rio wants. Seeing this, he asked her back, "Do you know why there are so few alchemists?" Sira thought for a moment and then said her understanding, "I heard that all alchemists are crazy." Rio denied this. "No, it's because they touched on forbidden things, using people as experimental subjects for alchemy." At this point, Rio told Sira, 20 years ago, after this was exposed, the king launched a purge of alchemists. Since then, alchemy has been lost. Nowadays, people refer to alchemists as creators. Hearing this, Sira felt a bit conflicted. Creation only uses materials, it can't involve life. As for your personal matters, it's not my place to know. If you need me later, we can talk. At this point, Sira mentioned the matter of enrollment. "If I've completed your task, can we talk about enrollment?" Rio handed something to Sira and said, "This is your enrollment token. The principal gave it to me." Hearing this, Sira was overjoyed, "So I can enroll now." Rio handed her the keepsake and instructed, "I have contacted the principal. Artifact masters are very rare on the continent, you don't need to take the exam to enroll. But before enrollment, you must register at the school and undergo a magic power test." Having lived another life, Sira now held in her hands the admission letter to the Imperial Academy, the very academy she always wanted to enter. After Sira left, a subordinate suddenly entered. "Your Highness, you called for me." Rio, without changing his expression, instructed his subordinate to seal the news about Sira's magical attributes. "Absolutely do not let the royal family and the Pope know. This way, she will be temporarily safe before she reaches the academy. Once she is enrolled, the academy will protect her safety." The subordinate obeyed and went to make arrangements. Then Rio mentioned attending the coming-of-age ceremony at the Duke's mansion. The subordinate was surprised and asked, "Your Highness, didn't you not want to go?" Rio replied indifferently, "Just prepare." After a moment of thought, the subordinate suddenly voiced his guess. "Are you worried that Miss Sira will be wronged, that's why you're going?" Rio seemingly did not deny this guess. smiling and saying the words, "Take care of Junior." The next day at the second prince's mansion. Just waking up after a passionate night with his lover, Arthur immediately received shocking news. Upon discovering that all his assets had been stolen, he angrily ordered his soldiers to catch the thief, and as soon as they did, he had him beheaded. While still distressed over the theft, another soldier suddenly burst in, anxiously reporting, "Your Highness, something has happened at the Welfare Institute that you and the Duke jointly run." This morning, the people of the Welfare Institute were found to have disappeared. Overnight, this news further ignited Arthur's fury. According to his subordinate, the director left behind a notice accusing the Duke of Lancaster of blocking the funding for the Welfare Institute before leaving. At this moment, everyone was gathered around reading the accusation posted at the entrance of the Welfare Institute. Everyone who read the notice covered their mouths in shock at the truth. The accusation stated that the Duke's mansion and the second prince had embezzled the Welfare Institute's funds. To protect the children of the institute, the director and deputy director decided to leave the capital, explicitly stating the crimes of those mentioned. This news quickly reached the Duke of Lancaster, who still remained calm, pretending there was nothing to worry about. Then calmly ordered his subordinates to announce to the public that the director fled with the Duke's money. He arranged people to chase along the capital route, searching in the cities, not missing a single place. Once found, deal with it immediately, then tell the public that the director, feeling guilty, committed suicide. To Duke Lancaster, Daisy's coming-of-age ceremony is the most important thing now. He absolutely cannot allow any mistakes at the party. Soon, it was the day of Daisy's coming-of-age ceremony, the most important day for the Duke's mansion. Everywhere in the mansion was arranged to welcome guests. Today, Daisy specially came to find Syrah. "Sister, here is the dress I prepared for you. Don't be sad about the broken engagement. Just enjoy the banquet tonight," she said. Syrah received the ceremonial outfit from Daisy's hands. Having lived again, she knew that on such important occasions, Daisy usually came to her place to give her old clothes she had worn before, aiming to prevent Syrah from stealing her spotlight. At this time, Daisy still didn't know that her younger sister was no longer as naive as before. She still wore a fake smile on her face. "I will go prepare for the coming-of-age ceremony. I'm really looking forward to the gift from you." Syrah knew well that if she wore this ceremonial outfit, the nobles would all know it was something Daisy had worn before. Every time, they would find ways to mock her. But she was determined not to let these things happen in the future. The protagonist once thought that perhaps the dress was very expensive, so her sister and father gave her old clothes to save money. But no matter how expensive, in such a wealthy duke's mansion, there was no way they couldn't buy her a new dress. Everyone can sacrifice their own happiness for the person they desire. Suffering, enduring sacrifice for the one you want is also happiness. Rewinding time back to the past, when the Duke visited Syrah's home, he smiled and told her about the little goat they raised. "We fed the sheep grass, gave them water, and even provided them a place to stay." At that time, the Duke's words were like thorns piercing Syrah's memory, making her unable to forget. He believed that if you guide such animals, they can feel happiness. If you ignore them, they will suffer and live poorly. Ultimately, the Duke only told Syrah that he would help that goat. Just like how he helped Syrah escape from the mountains, granting her the title of the Second Lady of Lancaster. Until now, Syrah realized it wasn't just about a goat, but about her and Daisy. The Duke treated her differently from her sister. This time, Syrah is determined not to be a docile goat following everyone's arrangements. She threw the gown Daisy gave her into the trunk like a piece of trash. Meanwhile, at the sanctuary, a subordinate reported to the Pope, "Your Holiness, today is the coming-of-age ceremony of the Lancaster family head. Will you attend the party?" The other person smiled, "Just an heir after all. If there wasn't a bit of light today, the position of Duke wouldn't necessarily be hers." Then, His Holiness the Pope ordered his subordinates to observe and let the marquises and dukes fight among themselves. On the way back to the capital, the Marquis's granddaughter, Vivian, indignantly expressed, "My grandfather hates the Duke's family the most. Why do I have to go to her coming-of-age ceremony?" The old man beside her smiled gently and explained, "Both our Marquis and Count families are sending their respective heirs to participate. The coming-of-age ceremony is very important. It determines whether the heir is truly the heir." But Vivian was still not enthusiastic. "The Duke's estate is very sinister, always opposing us. If their ancestors were to show up, they wouldn't choose Daisy. It seemed the old Marquis Campbell shared the same thoughts as his granddaughter. He smiled, thinking her words were very reasonable. Soon the coming-of-age party began. Nobles from everywhere gathered in the main hall of the Lancaster Duke's residence. People surrounded Duke Lancaster and Daisy, continuously flattering them. "Your Grace, you really know how to raise a child. Your daughter is both beautiful and has strong magic power. I heard that the eldest daughter has already broken through to intermediate rank 2 stars. She has a bright future." After careful preparation, Daisy appeared before everyone with a very graceful appearance, politely greeting all the esteemed guests. At this moment, Amy appeared just in time. "Sister Daisy, you look so beautiful today." Amy, bringing a gift, approached Daisy with flattery. "I missed you so much. Ever since the academy went on break, I haven't seen you. I got you a pair of very beautiful earrings as a gift." Seeing the gift, Daisy was excited. "Ah, it's a magic artifact." "Thank you, little sister." As expected, the gift Amy gave was a pair of earrings. Urged by Amy, Daisy put on the blue earrings, which matched the color of her eyes and elevated her beauty to a new level. To reciprocate, Daisy gently expressed, "Little sister Amy, I will help you in the competition after the school opens." Hearing this, Amy was overjoyed. The scene of sisters talking and laughing cheerfully immediately caught Vivian's eyes. The girl didn't hesitate to exclaim, "These two are so fake, it's really disgusting." Suddenly, Vivian noticed 2 figures at the door. The Crown Prince and the second prince had arrived. It was indeed rare to see both princes appearing together. Over here, the second prince saw Rio's presence at the party and warily asked, "What are you doing here?" "Daisy has already broken off the engagement with you. Today, I came to propose to her. Don't even dream of having Lady Daisy." Facing Arthur's words, Rio lazily replied, "Your taste is terrible, and your eyes are just as bad." The second prince Arthur gritted his teeth in anger. "Daisy is the noble eldest daughter of the Duke's mansion, like a goddess. Who can compare to her, the half-breed from the Duke of Syrah's mansion?" Rio's gaze drifted forward, lazily responding to Arthur's previous words. "Are you talking about her?" Arthur followed Rio's gaze, looking ahead, and was astonished to see Syrah dressed in an extremely splendid gown, appearing before everyone. The black dress accentuated Syrah's proud beauty, making her the center of the party, attracting the gazes of the others present. Syrah deliberately stood in front of Daisy, nonchalantly speaking, "It's so bad, without a maid to lead the way, I arrived late." Seeing Syrah in her splendid appearance, Daisy's face turned extremely somber. She wondered why Syrah wasn't wearing the old clothes she gave her. Syrah should be living like an insect in her light, not standing here stealing the spotlight. At this moment, some guests began to realize that Syrah was the illegitimate child of the Marquis's house. They couldn't believe that an illegitimate child could be so stunningly beautiful. Now, facing everyone's gaze, Syrah was no longer fearful or shy as before. All compliments or insults were the same, their opinions held no value to her. Syrah, both body and soul, felt a new sense of completeness. To break the tense atmosphere, Daisy approached Syrah and started a conversation. "I was worried about why my sister hadn't arrived. Now that I see you, I'm relieved." On the surface, Daisy tried to appear calm, but inside, she was already in turmoil. Looking at Syrah's new earrings, she wonders if they are a gift from the second prince. Suddenly, Amy steps forward, with her penchant for picking on Syrah. She couldn't stand still and waved her hand arrogantly. "Syrah, what gift are you preparing for Daisy? Wearing such precious earrings yourself, don't you know what to give Sister Daisy?" The female lead looked at Amy with contempt. "My gift, after the coming-of-age ceremony, will be given to her. It will certainly be much more valuable than these earrings." On one side, Daisy listened and showed an enthusiastic expression, indicating that she was very much looking forward to it. However, Syrah's words did not satisfy Amy, who, with a resentful look, mocked, "I don't believe you can give anything precious. Pretending to be rich is not easy. Who knows where your money comes from?" No matter how calm Syrah tried to be, Amy's words still made her a little unhappy. At this moment, a subordinate informed the Duke that it was time for the ceremony. Immediately, Duke Lancaster stood at the center and began his speech. "Thank you all for coming. You are all here to witness the beginning of the coming-of-age ceremony." Right after that, Daisy followed the light and stepped onto the podium. The coming-of-age ceremony of the ducal house involves a dance to honor the ancestors. If the ancestors deem the person as the next head of the house, they will grant the family crown. Here, Daisy proudly ascended each step. She carried herself with the confidence that today she shone the brightest before everyone. While everyone was watching Daisy's actions, Asute suddenly appeared and said she was not recognized. Seeing Asute, Sira asked in astonishment, "Why are you here?" Understanding her worry, Asute said, "I used magic. No one else can see me except you." Asute implied, "Your sister was not recognized by the ancestors. I increased my magic power to see ghosts in your eyes. Now you can see them." After being endowed with the ability to see ghosts, Sira wondered if Daisy had ever killed anyone from Lancaster, because she saw two spirits entwined around her. While Daisy was performing the ritual to inherit the power, the two spirits started causing disturbances, making the atmosphere unusual. Sira gradually realized that from the beginning Daisy was not the rightful heir. In the previous life as well, during the coming-of-age ceremony, the ancestors chose her instead of Daisy. At that moment, her eyes looked as if she wanted to devour Sira when she saw her wearing the crown. Seeing the unfavorable situation, the butler asked the Duke, "My lord, what should we do this time?" As soon as the magnificent crown appeared, no one could have expected that the owner of the crown was not Daisy. But it was Sira. The moment the crown was placed on the heroine's head, a radiant light emanated from her, capturing everyone's attention. Feeling the magic within her body becoming stronger, Sira smiled contentedly. She knows if the magic flowing within her was like Saturn, it has now solidified into something as hard as a crystal, just like the magic essence that Daisy and the second prince took from her in a past life. Without the blessings of the ancestors, Daisy's magic essence couldn't crystallize, which is why she stole it from her. Sira carried the crown towards the stage. Seeing the unexpected situation, Duke Lancaster reminded the butler that the ceremony should proceed as usual, regardless of what happens. "Sira cannot become the heir," he said, his eyes turning malicious. At this moment, Daisy felt like collapsing, wondering why the ancestors chose Sira instead of her. Looking at Sira's perfect face, a murderous intent rose in Daisy's heart. She thought to herself that despite eliminating the greatest support, she still made a mistake. Although her fury surged to the extreme, she reminded herself not to lose her temper in front of everyone. At this moment, Sira deliberately put on an innocent face and said, "Sister, I know what you want." Reversing time to the previous life, the Duke once told Sira that the ducal house should still be led by Daisy. In the previous life, Sira didn't hesitate to hand the crown to Daisy. She was still naive then, thinking that being the head of the family wasn't important. They were all one family. Life was very happy now, so it didn't matter who inherited. But at this moment, after returning from death, Sira no longer wanted things to unfold as they did in the previous life. She walked up to Daisy in front of everyone's eyes. She began to repeat the words she had said in the previous life, "Life is very happy now, you be the heir." Daisy warily asked, "What do you mean?" Sira smiled mischievously and replied, "This is the gift I prepared for you." After speaking, she looked at her sister deeply and asked, "Why don't you kneel? How can I pass the position of head of the family to you otherwise?" Without waiting for Daisy to respond, Sira directly used space magic to control her, causing her to stagger and kneel to the ground. Seeing this scene, Amy stood below, too scared to say a word. At this moment, Daisy no longer had the courage to face life. She just muttered to Sira, asking how she knew spatial magic. The heroine placed the crown on Daisy's head and intentionally said, "Do you like this gift?" Daisy, now full of doubt, replied, "I don't want it. If you saw through everything, why did you still give it to me?" Suddenly, the crown on Daisy's head fell down uncontrollably, leaving her no time to catch it. This scene was a major blow to her. Daisy couldn't believe that everything she had done for today was destroyed by her own sister. The Duke of Lancaster couldn't stand by any longer. He shouted, "Sira, what are you doing? Is this your way of apologizing to your sister?" Hearing this, Sira calmly responded, "Should I be the one apologizing to her, or should you be apologizing to me?" Then, the heroine began to speak the words she had kept in her heart for so long. "When I was 5 or 6 years old, you sent someone to bring me back to the Duke's estate. I thought I finally had a home, that I had family who loved me. But what was the result? You all wanted to exploit me until there was nothing left. After tonight, can I still live here peacefully?" Her words pierced the heart of the Duke of Lancaster, and his face turned pale. "How dare you speak to your father like that?" Sira quietly spoke, "Father, this is the last time I will call you that." Immediately after, Sira erupted in anger and shouted, "Your Grace, you have no right to call yourself my father. You and mother abandoned us in a remote mountain village." The Duke of Lancaster, seeing Sira speak out about his abandoning his wife and child for the sake of family honor in front of everyone. Had to relent, this is a misunderstanding. Your mother took you away on her own. I have always been searching for you. I care deeply for you. Everything I did was for you. How can you say such hurtful things to me? The Duke of Lancaster's words only fueled the rage in Sira's heart. She suddenly exploded and screamed, "Shut up!" The terrifying demeanor of Sira was something the Duke of Lancaster and everyone present had never seen before. They stood there, staring at her in shock. Sira had completely turned against her family at this point. "I have nothing more to say to you. You know exactly what you have done," she said, and threw the stack of papers she had gathered at everyone. Some of the guests quickly caught a stack of papers. After looking through them, they were shocked to find these were secret documents of Lancaster, proving that the Duke and the second prince had embezzled donation funds from the Welfare Institute. Seeing the deceitful face of the man she called father for years, Sira gritted her teeth. "You all deserve to die." At this moment, in the small world within the ring, Asud calmly sat reading a book and advised his girl to stay calm and leave this place, as there was nothing here worth staying for. Asud mischievously implied to Sira, "Wherever you want to go, I'll go with you." Sira seemed to feel the warmth that the other person had for her. She tried to regain her composure. "You're right, I think so too. Asud, could you lend me your knife?" Immediately, a dagger appeared in Sira's hand. She took the dagger and boldly spoke to everyone. "Today, in this ritual, the guests and ancestors are all witnesses." Seeing the scene before them, Vivian excitedly told her grandfather, "We came at the right time today. Such a great show is a rare sight in 1,000 years." At this moment, Sira began to cast magic. "Gods above, demons below, I, Sira, sever my blood ties with the Lancaster Duchy. I have no further relationship with anyone from the Lancaster Duchy." Just seconds after Sira declared the severance of ties, the ancestor's statue of the Lancaster family suddenly cracked. The Duke's face turned extremely grim upon seeing this. As he was about to step forward to stop Sira, Rio suddenly intervened, saying, "Your Grace, Sira has already sworn in blood. Why must you cling to her so tightly?" The Duke, unable to manage the situation further, sternly replied to Rio, "Crown Prince, please step aside. This is our family's matter." Rio signaled to Sira with his eyes, trying to buy more time. "Your Grace, you still haven't explained the embezzlement of the donation funds. You can't just leave like this." Knowing that he was trying to create an opportunity for her to escape, Sira discreetly gave Rio a thumbs up. She then stepped onto the balcony. Happily, she asked Ruru, "Are you ready?" Ruru reporting, informing the master, "The heavenly 10,000 birds of our Crow clan are all ready and can support the master at any time." Seeing that things had not yet erupted, Asud decided to use the lost magic of mist to make the party more interesting. Soon, a black mist covered the entire hall. The Duke hurriedly commanded the butler to arrange for the capture of Sira, and not let her leave the Lancaster territory. Daisy could never have imagined that her coming-of-age party would turn out like this. Seeing the black mist, she quickly realized it was rare magic. In her heart, she grew even more resentful of Sira. Daisy silently swore to heaven and earth that no matter where Sira went, she would kill her. The party had become chaotic. The Lancaster family completely lost face in front of all the other families. The butler had no choice but to respectfully say, "Everyone, please follow me. The party is over early. The Duke has urgent matters. Let me arrange things for you." At this moment, Rio felt that Sira was indeed an interesting girl. He secretly promised himself that if he had the chance, he would invite her to dance next time. Vivian excitedly told her peers, "Someone can make Daisy suffer this much. She must be my long-lost sister. I have to tell everyone about this when I get back to school." The scene shifts to the forest. Sira is trying to escape from the Lancaster soldiers. The cumbersome dress makes running difficult. At this moment, the ring on her hand suddenly starts to glow. Inside the ring, Asud, after knowing that Ruru helped Sira, became insanely jealous. Who doesn't know about this support? Without that crazy bird, I could still help Sira leave safely. Suddenly, Asud's eyes became sorrowful, feeling aggrieved as he thought Sira had handled everything, leaving no room for him to showcase his talents. The group chasing Sira tried to persuade her to return. "We are the Duke's mags. Second miss, please come back with us." Sira not only didn't stop, but also shouted back at them, "I am no longer the second miss of the Duke's household. Give up already." Seeing Sira had no intention of giving up, the mags had no choice but to use magic to restrain her. Although Sira dodged one attack, she could feel that this energy belonged to a high-level mage, stronger than Daisy. Based on her observation, there were a few more people hiding in the shadows waiting to ambush. At this moment, the mags began to attack intensively. "We follow the Duke's orders. We must bring you back." Sira, while running, noticed another mage ambushing from her left side. Without any hesitation, she jumped onto a nearby tall tree branch. The little crow Ruru above her spoke with great determination, "Master, run quickly. My subordinates will protect you." Just as Sira was confused about who Ruru's subordinates were, a dark mass suddenly appeared in the sky. Seeing the flock of crows, Sira couldn't help but worry. Are they low-level magic beasts? I'm afraid they won't be able to stop those mags. Despite this, Ruru still had to put on a show, waving his hand like a boss. He ordered the remaining crows to poop on the heads of the mags. In an instant, the mags had to taste the strong smell of crow poop. At this moment, because she wasn't careful, Sira slipped and was about to fall. Ruru, seeing this, thought his master was worried about him. But the reality was harsh. The heroine, in her panic, slipped and fell from the branch. Luckily, midway, Prince Charming Asute caught her. The male lead appeared with great charisma, holding Sira, and said domineeringly, "Your Highness, why didn't you come to me when you were in trouble?" Seeing Asute, Sira suddenly felt much more at ease, hinting that she wanted him to take her away from there. But Asute seemed unwilling. He glanced at the mags, judging that they wanted to capture Sira. He immediately used magic to punish them, rendering them unable to move. Then he used separation magic, directly eliminating them. The whole forest now echoed with screams. Sira, still unaware, thought they were still chasing her and wanted Asute to quickly leave with her. After a while, when Sira saw no one chasing her, she curiously asked, "Where did they go?" Moments later, she was horrified, thinking the group had been driven back by Ruru. Asute, hearing Sira praise the fluffy crow instead of him, felt a bit jealous. He hugged her tightly and asked, "Where do we go now?" Sira thought for a moment and suddenly felt something was wrong. A moment later, she shyly pushed Asute away and stammered, "I want to go to school." He said that and then turned around to leave first, completely ignoring Asute's blushing face. As if there was an invisible connection forming between them, and this connection seemed to be related to romantic feelings. A moment later, Ruru returned, looking at the scene where Asute had just annihilated the wizards. The Black Crow felt fortunate. His master's people are really terrifying. Those high-level wizards were all wiped out. Fortunately, I didn't cause trouble with him before. Otherwise, I would have been turned into stir-fried crow with lemongrass and chili. Ruru from above informed Sira that he had returned. At this moment, the female lead suddenly stopped at a small branch of the forest. She said to Asute, "I feel this place is very familiar. It seems like this is where I lived when I was a child." Elsewhere, on the way back to the palace, a subordinate spoke up, "Second Prince, is it really okay for us to leave like this?" Arthur casually replied, "The matter of the Duke's mansion has been exposed. Of course we have to leave quickly." Hearing that, the subordinate gave advice on embezzling public funds. "Do you still plan to marry into the Duke's household? This matter is too sensitive. First of all, it would be better to cut ties." Arthur didn't agree. He countered the subordinate's words, "No need to worry about that sly old Duke. He can handle this. The engagement must proceed, but it has to be with Sira." The subordinate asked curiously, "But Lady Sira has already cut ties with the Duke's household." Arthur nonchalantly replied, "A young girl's tantrum. A little coaxing will suffice. Once we are together, I'll bring her back to Lancaster to inherit the family." It turns out that the moment the second Prince Arthur saw Sira at the party, he was captivated by her beauty. His desire to marry her formed from that. Scene change. Sira, relying on vague childhood memories, moves forward. On the way, Asute keenly notices, there's a faint trace of magic here, a barrier spell preventing others from entering. Judging by the remnants, it must be over 10 years old. Suddenly, Sira stands stunned, looking at the house ahead. At this moment, she couldn't believe she could find the place she once lived as a child once again. Sira carried a strange feeling as she opened the door and stepped inside. The moment she saw the objects around her, her face suddenly became dazed. The protagonist slowly walked forward, step by step. Suddenly, she noticed a photo on the table. Holding the photo in her hand, a rush of memories flooded back into Sira's mind. She began to tell Asute and Ruru, "This wooden house was left to me by my mother. I lived here when I was little. I don't know what my mother looked like, but I assume that my father might have kept another photo of her. But this is the only picture," Sira said, her eyes showing an unprecedented sadness. After touring the house, Sira and Asute sat on the porch, looking at the scenery around them. There, she poured her heart out to Asute. "Sometimes I wondered why my mother and father gave birth to me. Where did my mother go? Is she still in this world? Am I a burden to her, which is why she doesn't want me anymore?" Sensing the sadness in Sira's voice, Asute didn't say much and simply reassured her that her mother must have loved her very much. He explained to the heroine that this wooden house and the surrounding mountains were covered by a protective barrier that could hide their presence. Even a great sorcerer would get lost and not be able to enter. This was a very profound magic, but at the time it was cast, it might have been very weak, so a few years later its power had weakened. 10 years have passed. And with so much magical power, her mother couldn't possibly not love her. Hearing what Asute said, Sira pondered for a moment. Then she smiled very happily. However, if you looked closely, you could still see a tear welling up in her eye. To avoid letting Asute see, Sira intentionally turned away. Her action unintentionally caught Asute's gaze. Knowing what she was thinking, he deliberately looked straight ahead, not wanting to ask any further questions. Ruru, seeing this, got angry and turned into a 7-dish crow, reminding the black crow Van No to comfort her, saying, "Are you a block of wood or what?" Asute's face turned red upon hearing this. As a deity, he had never comforted anyone, so he didn't know how to do it. After a while, Asute called out to Sira, "The moon is beautiful tonight. May I invite you to dance?" This was Asute's way of easing Sira's sorrow. Hearing his invitation, Sira froze in astonishment for a moment. Sira then took off her high heels and placed them on a rock, walking barefoot on the grass. Ruru, standing nearby, was delighted and continuously praised, "This kid's not bad." Seeing Sira take off her shoes, Asute extended his hand, watching her every step intently. When Sira reached Asute, she smiled brightly and said, "Asute, you are the first to invite me to dance." Asute had been watching her closely and smiled gently, replying, "And it is my honor." Asute stepped forward, lightly holding her hand, and with his other hand, he gently pulled her closer, saying, "Congratulations, today you can leave the place of unhappiness." When Asute's hand touched Sira, she immediately felt an icy chill through her glove. She was startled and thought, "Asute's body is so cold. Is it because he's just a spirit?" And so, Sira was lost in her thoughts while holding hands and dancing a few waltzes with Asute. When they finally stopped, Sira suddenly spoke up, "Asute, I'll try to become stronger, and then I'll bring you back to life." Hearing the seriousness in her voice and seeing it in her eyes, Asute paused for a moment, then gently smiled and said, "It's all right, no need to push yourself. Just do what you want to do." Sira had only ever heard criticisms or scorn directed at her. This was the first time someone had said such words to her. It was like a warm current soothing her broken heart, stirring up a strange feeling within her. A breeze blew into my heart, piercing through my soul. I think perhaps it was the wind of freedom, slowly returning to my grasp. From a distance, Rue watched the actions of the two and couldn't help but feel envious. "How nice, I want to fall in love too," she thought. Just then, a shooting star streaked across the sky. Sira and Asute both noticed it and looked up, watching until the star gradually faded and the sky returned to normal. Asute suddenly spoke, "Meteors are the stars of summer. Which means summer has officially begun. Every year on the first day of March, stars representing the change of seasons fall from the sky." Suddenly, as soon as Asute finished speaking, a light surrounded Sira, enveloping the two of them. Rue, from behind, not understanding why she used magic, hurriedly flew over and chirped, "Master, what's wrong?" As the magical light gradually faded, seeing the object before her, Asute's eyes widened in surprise. "This is..." Similarly, Sira's expression was no less astonished. She examined the book carefully for a while and then said, "This is a magic book. But why is this book here? In my previous life, it was clearly in the Duke's library. Moreover, the first page of the book didn't have these messages: 'Beloved Sira, my most cherished daughter, happy 16th birthday. I hope this book can bring you the knowledge and power you desire. Never forget to trust yourself and love yourself. You will definitely find your own answers.'" At this moment, in the Duke's residence, the old fox Jared was standing facing the door, lost in thought, while Daisy stood behind him. Suddenly, He glanced at his daughter and said, I have sent 5 great magicians to capture Sira. He put on a disgruntled face and grumbled, she had such a fierce argument with you. If you can't smooth over your relationship with her. He sighed deeply and continued. Then we'll have to plan ahead. As if she understood her father's intentions, she coldly spoke of the plan to take its magic core and absorb its power. At that moment, the old man clasped his hands behind his back, seriously contemplating before giving a reminder, the current Sira is no longer as easy to deal with as before. Although its magic level still doesn't surpass yours, that might not be the case in the future. Of course, Daisy knew this, so she nodded in understanding. She then gracefully lifted her dress, bowed in a noble manner, and said, then I'll return to my training room now. Until she left, old Jarrett remained silent, deep in thought as he quietly devised other plans. At that moment, although the door outside had closed, she hadn't left yet, accidentally overhearing the butler's words. He sighed regretfully and said, if the young master and madam were still alive. Things might not be like this today. Early the next morning, Sira had everything ready. She sighed and said, finally, it's time to go. I've always wanted to go to the academy. Looking at the old but familiar house in front of her, Sira felt a mix of emotions inside. Holding the book her mother had given her, Sira whispered in her heart, Mother, I will do my best. Are you still alive somewhere in this world? What exactly happened that year? How did the person leave Lancaster, and where did they finally go? All those questions and secrets, I will clarify them all. Saying that, she turned to Asute with a smile, signaling to set off. Asute, who had been observing her, suddenly noticed something missing and quickly asked, Sira, where is your ring? Sira immediately replied, in my pocket. Asute frowned, looking displeased and grumbled, wear it, don't lose it. Don't take it off again. Sira obediently took the ring out of her pocket, and put it on her finger. Seeing his strange demeanor, she curiously asked, okay, but why are you floating away? Asute crossed his arms and replied. Because being outside for too long has somewhat weakened my strength. Seeing that, Sira raised her hand and suggested, then go back inside the ring. Asute heard her suggestion, but acted as if he didn't hear, crossing his arms and floating silently parallel to Ru above. Sira, not understanding his intention, asked tentatively, you don't want to go inside? At this moment, Asute finally spoke, his voice indifferent yet still showing concern, if any magical beasts appear on the road, they could swallow you whole in one gulp. Sira chuckled upon realizing the reason, am I really that weak? Go back into the ring to cultivate, if there's anything I can't handle, then you can come out. Thinking about how staying out here consumes more of his strength, Asute agreed, nodding, makes sense. It's better to be in the ring to cultivate, and appear quickly when she needs help. Asute threw a book at her, and gave a final reminder before disappearing into the ring. This book is written by me, it contains the basics of magical power, make sure you read it. Muttering the title of the book that Asute had mentioned, Sira, curious, opened the book to see what was written inside. Under the firelight, Sira read the book intently, the book Asute left for her. The size of one's magical core is innate, later cultivation involves consolidating magical power. And the width and durability of the magic core also determine the hardness of magic that can be absorbed. If one only has a high level but insufficient hardness of magical power, they might not necessarily win against someone of a lower level, but higher hardness of magical power. So that's how it is. Previously, I only saw this in magical studies, where the level of magical power is determined by the form of the magical core. But it wasn't explained clearly, so it must be like this. Last time, I thought just absorbing magic power would be enough, but it seems I acted before thinking. Cultivation requires much more understanding. Hearing this, Ru chirped in, Master, when was the last time? Why don't I remember anything? Sira glanced at Ru and smiled, the last time was the last time. You hadn't been born yet. But suddenly, something flashed in Sira's mind, making her suddenly wake up. Wait, last time when I ascended, I felt a freezing sensation on my left side, and it was soft and flexible. Could it have been Asute? She froze in confusion, thinking, why did he kiss me? And this time running away, he's been helping me a lot. Could it be that he likes me? She quickly dismissed the thought, no way, why would he? The more she thought about it, the more embarrassed Sira became. She grabbed her head, shaking it back and forth, telling herself, study, stop thinking about nonsense. Maybe he just kissed my forehead to help me cultivate. My ascension will benefit him too. It's best not to be narcissistic. Thinking that, she suddenly shouted, Studying hard and working on advancing myself is the most important thing. Half a month later at La City, people were coming and going in a bustling scene, indicating that this place was very busy and prosperous. Seeing the crowd and the buzzing noise, Sira exclaimed, "So many people." Ru, beside her, grumbled, "All these people are taking day tours. We almost didn't make it in time for enrollment." Ignoring Ru's complaints, Sira cheerfully said, "Mainly worried that the Duke would send people to the academy to find me." "Aren't we safe now?" Ru wearily leaned on her shoulder. "I'm exhausted." "Master, hurry and enroll. I'm starving." Just as Sira was about to leave to find the registration spot, a shrill voice suddenly rang out, causing her to turn back. "You don't have the right to participate in the academy's competition." The surrounding people started whispering and then quickly avoided the scene, as commoners like them couldn't afford to offend the nobles. At the source of the voice, a red-haired young man was holding a paper high, not letting a girl take it. The girl, her voice full of grievance, shouted, "What right do you have to take my examination?" "Card." The red-haired boy arrogantly said, "Yours. If it's in my hand, it's mine. Do you know who I am? A lowly commoner like you deserves to study with me." "Disgusting." The surrounding people exclaimed, "That's young Master Baird. He's the Empress's nephew. How dare you defy him?" The girl, now on the verge of tears, her voice trembling, pleaded, "I've passed the magical power assessment, and got the examination card. Give it back. The Imperial Academy has always been my dream. You have no right to take it." Seeing this scene, Sira paused, observing with a face that revealed little emotion, making it hard to discern what she was thinking. A few seconds later, because he was too annoyed with the arrogance of that guy, Sira ordered Ru to fly over and peck hard on his head, causing him to close his eyes in pain and scream. Seizing the opportunity, when he was distracted and loosened his grip, Ru quickly used his beak to snatch the contest paper from his hand and fly towards Sira. It took Baird a few seconds to recover from the shock, and by then he realized that a black crow had taken the paper. He angrily shouted, "Give me back that contest paper." At that moment, Ru brought the paper to Sira while continuously insulting him, "Idiot, idiot." Sira took the contest paper from Ru's beak, smiled coldly, and asked, "You said it's yours?" Just as he arrogantly spoke to that little girl earlier, Sira responded in the same way, "Now that it's in my hands, it belongs to me." The servants were furious when she refused to return it and threatened, "Do you want to die, daring to offend the Empress's grandson?" Baird, hearing their words, became more confident, crossed his arms, and arrogantly said to Sira, "If you don't hand it over, don't expect to leave today." The little girl, who had lost her contest paper, anxiously approached Sira and nervously called out, "Sister." Contrary to everyone's expectations, Sira did not show any fear in the face of their threats. She smiled, raised her hand to shield the little girl, signaling her protection, and defiantly looked at the group, "If you dare, make a move. This castle was built by the Imperial Academy. If you cause trouble here, the teachers and the principal of the academy will know, right?" Hearing her suddenly mention the teacher and the principal of Baird Academy, he realized something, his face turned pale, and his expression was very unpleasant. At this moment, Sira turned around and handed the paper to the little girl, smiling and reminding her that as long as she passed the rank assessment, whether a commoner or a noble, she could enroll. Looking at him, Sira added, "This matter was decided by the principal and the king together. Do you think your privileges can replace the king's status?" Baird didn't understand, he just snatched the exam paper from that wretched girl, he never intended to challenge the king. Hearing Sira say that, he screamed in fear, rebutting her, "You lie." He angrily stepped closer to Sira, glaring at her, threatening, "Just wait, I'll get you." Hearing him say that, she wasn't afraid at all, standing with her arms crossed, smirking and challenging him. Knowing he couldn't do anything at the moment, he left angrily and sullenly. Seeing him leave, the little girl looked up at Sira, full of gratitude, "Thank you, sister." Sira smiled at her, saying, "It's nothing." The little girl was about to say something more to Sira, but suddenly her stomach growled continuously, making her stop. Hearing her stomach growl, Sira knew she probably hadn't eaten anything, so she made a suggestion, "Then let's eat first. Report back before 2 in the afternoon." Looking at the food on the table, the little girl kept exclaiming, "Sister, can I really eat all this?" Sira smiled with her eyes squinting and replied, "It's okay, eat more." As if suddenly remembering, Ru interrupted the meal and curiously asked Sira, "But aren't you out of money?" Sira then took out a pair of delicate earrings and said, I still have a lot of jewelry like this. The little girl was very touched and made a firm promise to Sira, Sister, thank you for helping me get my exam card back and treating me to a meal today. I will definitely repay you in the future. Sira laughed at the serious expression on the young girl's face and quickly changed the subject. Zakuro, you passed the magic test, right? Hearing the sudden question, Zakuro nodded and smiled, yes, I am a level 3 beginner. Ru, who was gnawing on a piece of meat nearby, praised her non-stop, not bad. Little girl. Sira then curiously asked, so, how old are you this year? Zakuro answered, I'm currently 12 years old. Sira, thinking she misheard, asked again, 12 years old. When Daisy was 12 years old, he was only a level 2 beginner, and he had already used the Duke's estate resources. This child truly has extraordinary talent. Previously, the Academy only accepted noble students. It's only in recent years that this policy has been lifted. Nobles, who didn't have to do anything to enroll, now also have to pass an exam to enter the Imperial Academy. Having to compete with commoners of lesser status, many nobles felt dissatisfied with this, but only those who lack strength and are narrow-minded would think this way. After a moment, Zakuro suddenly looked at Sira hesitantly and said, Big sister, can I ask you a question? Sira smiled and nodded, indicating that she could ask. With her permission, Zakuro immediately asked, why aren't you afraid of that young master? He could steal my exam card. I'm very angry, but my hands and feet are paralyzed. I don't know what to do. Thinking about her question for a few seconds, Sira seriously answered, just make him feel scared as well. When others threaten and intimidate you, they just want to make you afraid of them. People like that aren't necessarily very confident. Once you find their weakness, they are as easy to break as a piece of paper. As if shocked by Sira's words, Zakuro suddenly banged the table, stood up excitedly, and shouted, Big sister, you are my idol. She smiled brightly, full of admiration, and said, from now on, I also want to become as strong as you. A few hours later at the competition venue, an annoying voice mixed with disdain from the short-haired girl rang out. Who knows how she managed to qualify? The girls around her heard this and joined in laughing, saying, that's right, how could she be an exception? Sira saw that they were making things difficult and didn't want to let her in, so she smirked and said, actually, I want to participate in the exam too. I want to see what the Academy's test is like. The short-haired girl snorted disdainfully and sneered, then go take the test, don't just stand there waiting for the seniors to come to your rescue. Seeing the scornful challenge from her, Sira looked at the blonde-haired guy next to her and asked, Senior, can I take the test? He saw her question and replied, don't worry and go ahead, anyone chosen by Rio is surely not bad. The girl saw Sira's determination and secretly laughed to herself. She didn't believe someone like Sira could complete the exam, so she confidently folded her arms and taunted. Go on then, don't come out crying later. Seeing her confidence, Sira felt a teasing spirit rise and gave a fake smile, saying, Senior sister, your stance is so firm, dare to bet with me. Bet that I can pass the test. Without much thought, the girl saw Sira walking into the trap herself and quickly responded happily, fine. If you pass the test, I'll give you 1,000 gold. If you lose, give me 1,000 gold, and if you don't have it, kneel down and apologize. Hearing the number, 1,000 gold, Sira laughed mockingly. Senior sister is really generous, are you in a hurry to give me money? Sira smiled, pretending to be innocent and exclaimed, Senior sister is really nice. Seeing her turn around and walk into the exam room, the woman mocked, I knew you were just tough talking. The girl next to her, puzzled by the comment, quickly stepped closer and whispered. Why didn't senior sister Ninmong let her measure her magical power level before taking the test? Ninmong smirked and replied, she's the illegitimate child of the Daisy family. Hearing this, the girl was startled, covering her mouth and exclaimed, ah. I see. No wonder she flirted with senior brother Rio, and clung to the other two senior brothers, just like her mother. Moreover, I heard from Daisy that this illegitimate child hasn't even reached the elementary mage level, she's just an apprentice. The girl said, and yet she dares to take the test. Ninmong sneered. She's just relying on her connection with senior brother Rio. Besides her looks, what else does she have? Let's see how embarrassed she'll be. At the first test site, as soon as Sira walked in, she heard the instructor's voice, all candidates, please enter the exam area one by one. Please select your weapon here. Sira stood still, overwhelmed by the dazzling scene before her. The instructor's voice rang out again, your choice will affect your final test results. So please consider carefully. After hearing the instructor's reminder, Sira turned and asked, if I choose this, do I have to return it after the test? The girl with white hair and a blindfold gently answered Sira's question. If the weapon belongs to a contestant, it can pass the check, otherwise, it must be returned. While others were busy choosing and discussing weapons together, Sira quietly observed with her chin in her hand. What should I choose, she thought. Seeing her pondering, Ru chirped in, Master, choose something with great power. Sira carefully considered for a while. The dangers ahead were unknown, and she didn't know what the next test would be. High-quality magical items might be good, but she should choose what suits her best. After looking around, Sira's gaze was drawn to an item that caught her eye, making her approach it for a closer look. Seeing Sira pick up a crude black stone, Ru puzzledly flapped her wings and said, Master, this is just a stone. Holding the stone closer to inspect it, Sira said, it's a good item, high density, strong hardness, and very light. Contestants nearby, choosing weapons for themselves, burst into loud laughter upon seeing Sira holding a stone. What an idiot, picking up a stone, one mocked. While another patted his shoulder, struggling to suppress laughter, and said, come on, let's go. It's obvious she's just here to make up the numbers. Ignoring the comments of those passing by, Sira remained silent and focused on her task. She used magic to try to alter the stone. Ru observed for a while and then realized, this stone, no, it's actually a mineral, the master has changed its shape. After transforming it into the shape of a small knife, Sira smiled contentedly and said, the flexibility is also very good, it's perfect. At this moment, at the second testing location, the crowded noisy candidates were complaining, why are there so many doors, should we just pick one randomly? The guide's announcement voice rang out again, please choose one of the 6 challenges, the challenges will be different, there is a risk of death in the challenges. If the candidates want to quit, they can turn back. As soon as Sira moved to the second testing room, she exclaimed, it's so dark in here. Suddenly the guide's announcement voice rang out again, please choose one of the 6 challenges. Hearing the next announcement from the guide, Sira was surprised, one of the challenges might be fatal, if candidates want to quit the test, they can return to the original path. The candidates, too, immediately started making a commotion upon hearing the announcement, what kind of joke is this, there's a risk of death, should we turn back? Hearing that, the person next to them angrily scolded, saying, we've come this far, what's there to be afraid of? Sira didn't care what the others thought or said. She just focused on observing the doors. Seeing this, Ru asked, Master, which door should we choose? Sira pointed to a door and said, I want to go to the one on the far right. The symbols on them represent different meanings. The first 5 represent demons. Prophecy, the earth, spells, healing. The last one, however, is unknown. Ru perched on Sira's shoulder and sighed, saying, I can't understand these human scripts either. As soon as the choice was made, Sira stepped up and walked towards the door she had chosen. Among the contestants, someone noticed which door Sira was heading to and shouted in surprise, drawing everyone's attention towards her. Someone in the crowd recognized the door Sira had chosen. It was the high difficulty hell challenge. Everyone started sweating and murmured, is she crazy? In the past 10 years, only Senior Daisy and Senior Rio dared to choose this challenge. Senior Rio almost died in there. Hearing the crowd's discussion, Ru felt the door was extremely dangerous, and tried to stop Sira. Master, let's choose another door. Sira was undeterred. Hearing the crowd mention Daisy only strengthened her resolve. The challenge that Daisy once took on, she must choose this one. Despite his fear, Ru, trembling all over, still boldly said, Master, I'll go with you. Seeing him like that, Sira couldn't help but laugh. Then she quickly entered the so-called hell door with Ru. The crowd was abuzz. She actually went in. Meanwhile, in the surveillance room, the examinas were observing the contestants on a large screen. Seeing Sira step in, one examina remarked, not bad, daring to choose this challenge. Either a genius or a fool. The examina next to him crossed his arms and snorted disdainfully, putting on a show. He thought that if she were really that powerful, why had he never met or heard of her before? The assistant next to him, upon hearing this, flipped through the files to check the information, then mumbled her name under his breath. At that moment, inside the door, as soon as she stepped in, Ru, perched on Sira's shoulder, suddenly flew off, as if some force had thrown it away from her. Ru saw Sira being enveloped by some magical force, with a magic circle under her feet. Ru frantically flapped its wings back and forth, asking, Master, what's happening to you? What is this orb? The old man in a white robe, holding a staff, then explained, "This is a challenge for an individual. Contract beasts like you cannot participate in the assessment." Hearing this, Rue became even more worried, and, with tears in its eyes, asked the old man, "So, my master won't be in any danger, right?" At this moment, Syrah was in some other space, where everything around was very vague and dark. Syrah's eyes now seemed lifeless, not as alert as usual. Inside the space of the ring, Asute was writing a book when he suddenly paused, feeling something. The connection with Syrah had been severed. He put down his pen, stepped outside, and touched the air in front of him, sensing an invisible barrier blocking his way. He was certain that there was a barrier surrounding the ring. To test the thickness and the barrier, Asute swung his hand to punch the wall, seeing if it would break. He quickly realized his punch was absorbed by the wall, and it didn't leave a scratch. Seeing this, Asute's face became serious and frighteningly focused. This was a soul barrier, separating the soul from all connections to the outside world. What happened to her? Meanwhile, Rue on the other side kept flapping its wings, pleading with the old man, "Master, please release my master." The old man shook his head and said, "She has entered the deepest layer of her consciousness. This illusion challenge will reveal the deepest fears within the human heart. If she manages to get out, she will never be able to open those eyes again." Hearing this, Rue worriedly asked, "Do you mean she might go blind?" The old man was silent for a long time, then shook his head and said, "She will die." At this moment, inside, Syrah continues to walk in a soulless daze. Uncontrollable rage and resentment are burning fiercely, the fire of hatred that cannot be quenched, cannot be soothed, making her feel suffocated and wishing for death. Suddenly, the figure of Daisy appeared from nowhere, taking Syrah's hand and saying, "Little sister, don't be afraid. I will always be here by your side." Seeing her appear before her, Syrah didn't say a word, but used the transformation stone to create a small knife. Without hesitation, she coldly and ruthlessly stabbed her. Just as she stabbed one person, another Daisy appeared before her, blocking her path. This time, she crazily grabbed Syrah's neck, smiling maliciously, "Little sister, quickly give me your magical power." Though surprised by the chokehold, Syrah did not panic. She took the knife in her hand and cut off the arm choking her. Another Daisy was defeated. Syrah bowed her head, her voice filled with sorrow, saying, "Will my heart be at peace now?" Suddenly, something ignited the flame of hatred within her, making her mind overflow with a hollow hatred, making her feel that even killing the Daisy wasn't enough. It was still not enough. At this moment, outside her mind, Syrah's body was submerged in water. The old man sighed as he saw the water level rising to Syrah's neck, saying, "If the girl is completely submerged, she may enter hell." Rue panicked upon hearing this. Flapping its wings and chirping incessantly, "Master, master, wake up." No matter how much Rue screamed outside, Syrah couldn't hear it. She had almost lost her mind, continuously stabbing to death every Daisy that appeared. Beneath Syrah's steps were pools of fresh blood, trailing behind her. When Syrah was about to give up, a warm voice echoed from somewhere, waking her up. "Syrah, can you hear me?" Realizing the voice came from the ring on her hand, Syrah's lifeless eyes glanced at it. Unconsciously, she reached out to touch the ring, wiping away the bloodstains on it. As soon as the ring flashed, Syrah's mind seemed to clear from the fog, and her eyes regained their clarity. Startled, she realized the surroundings were completely unfamiliar, and the heavy smell of blood filled the air. She lightly covered her mouth and wondered, "Where is this? The smell of blood is so strong." Suddenly glancing down at the scattered bodies piled up below, the scene was utterly bloody and brutal. It made Syrah unable to bear it, causing her to gag several times. Only then did Syrah remember that she had created this scene with her own hands. Her spirit seemed to collapse as she fell to the ground. At that moment, Asute's voice rang out, "Syrah, are you awake?" Realizing who it was, Syrah trembled and asked breathlessly, "Asute, is this an illusion?" Inside the space of the ring, Asute created a magic circle to communicate with Syrah. "You are trapped in the barrier, I can't connect with your soul. If you are awake, we can talk." Syrah panted, her voice steady, "I seem to be dying." Asute immediately confirmed, "Yes, if you don't get out now, you will die. Now, start listening to me. Find the brightest place." With Asute's help, she immediately obeyed and quickly looked around this place, searching for the brightest spot. As soon as she saw the brightest direction, Syrah said, "Found it." Asute's voice seemed less tense now, and he softly replied, "That's the exit of the barrier."